Welcome to Running the Ropes podcast. I am your host, Alex, joined by my co-hosts. I got Luke.
Heyo.
And all the way from Chicago, Illinois, Mr. Justin Bailey.
What's up?
All right. So this is a revamp of our old podcast, the Running the Ropes podcast or show, whatever we want to call it. We're trying it out again because why not?
And feel free not to go back and listen to those old ones.
Please do not. They're terrible. Our humor was not good.
Was not evolved.
Yeah. So yeah, we're trying it out again, seeing if the podcast format can work with us, and seeing if we're having more fun doing it this time. And no video anymore. I hate editing videos.
So yeah, new and improved, huh?
Well, slightly new and not improved.
There we go.
Okay. All right, so I guess the big thing come out, and we're recording this on April 15th of 2018, 1 week removed from WrestleMania 34. Pretty big Mania weekend, actually, for this year, for all of us. But I feel like we're going to introduce the topic of the week. And I feel like this topic should be about first ever Manias. About like your first experience with WrestleMania, watching it. If you watch it on pay-per-view or live, I'm the only one here that hasn't watched one live yet. So, who wants to start?
I suppose I will start. First Mania I watched, I got into wrestling in 2003, which is much later than you guys did, and most people in general. The first Mania I watched was actually WrestleMania 19, which is one of the best WrestleManias there are. So, I was instantly drawn in by that one. You had Rock versus Stone Cold, Brock versus Angle, Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. So it's you can hardly have a better first exposure to WrestleMania, I think. And from there, this video stores were a thing back then, so I went and rented a bunch of VHS tapes of the old ones, like the Hulk Hogan era. I watched WrestleMania 7, 8, a lot of the early ones, and then my obsession with wrestling kept snowballing from there.
And then you actually went to WrestleMania.
Yeah, Luke and I went to WrestleMania 23, got to see Donald Trump get stunned by Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The worst stunner in history.
Yeah. We did not know at the time what would happen in 2017, but
no one did.
Really? I wonder what laps
on a later note, we got to see Undertaker during the streak. We got to see John Cena versus Shawn Michaels. It was a good Mania. Good experience. Hope to go again someday, obviously.
Yeah, okay. Luke, you want to go next?
Sure. As for mine intersects a lot with Justin's because I grew up a big wrestling fan, but Justin was, he wasn't into it as much or at all. And so, but I was never able to see any of the pay-per-views. My parents weren't going to buy me a pay-per-view. So I got to watch like the first hour of Raw. I got to go to bed at 10 or whatever. I watched a lot of WCW, but my first Mania I ever saw as it was happening was actually WrestleMania 20, and I watched that with Justin. We went to the movie theater when they would air the pay-per-views live, which was amazing. I highly, if there's anything like that in your area, I recommend it because it's so awesome. Mm-hmm. But previously to that, I had only seen bits and pieces of WrestleMania, so like big matches from certain Manias.
Right.
And then obviously later on down the line, Justin and I went to WrestleMania at Ford Field, and we, I don't know if you remember, but there was the New Breed Unleashed, the ECW.
Oh, ECW.
We actually had Sandman come down our aisle.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
So,
okay.
Yeah, that's my WrestleMania experience.
Very cool. So I actually got started in wrestling way earlier than you. I think you did. I was like 94, 95. My brother and my dad were both big wrestling fans. So, the first Mania I ever watched was actually a taped version because my mom had a friend who him and his wife watched wrestling, and they taped a version of WrestleMania 12, which was Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in the Iron Man match. And me and my brother were both like, I was Shawn Michaels, he was Bret Hart. So we both were like, oh, we gotta watch this. But the first live WrestleMania I saw like on pay-per-view was WrestleMania 17. And it was because spring break started the very next Monday. So it was like, perfect, I got to watch WrestleMania 17. And no joke, I watched the entire show. And then I stayed up and watched the encore presentation until like 3 o'clock in the morning. I watched WrestleMania twice in a row before it was a 5-hour extravaganza. I have not been to a live Mania. It's on the bucket list, so maybe we'll get to go, but not to New York next year, because fuck New York.
I might want to try to go to New York next year. Of course, I'll go to another one with you guys, but I know you guys don't care for going to New York, so.
I don't know how Luke feels about it.
I would have rather gone. Well, next year's New Jersey, technically, isn't it?
Yeah, it's New York, New Jersey, but they call it New York because.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess all the indie shows would be in Manhattan, probably. But I would much rather go to a Mania in New Jersey than I would like in
downtown New York City.
New York, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's for that one. So WrestleMania weekend. There were shows starting from Thursday all the way to Sunday, and I managed to watch 4 shows Mania weekend. I did watch a few of the WrestleCon Super Show, just like 2 matches from that. Luke, how much wrestling did you get in for Mania weekend?
I believe I watched 4 shows altogether. Yep.
All right, and Justin, what about you?
So I watched NXT, the Mania itself. I watched the New Japan show, if that counts as part of Mania weekend. I don't know. Does it?
It's not Mania weekend, but it's close enough, I guess.
Close enough.
So
those are the 3 I watched during the actual weekend. Then I watched the ROH show last night. So I have watched 4 so far.
Okay. Well, on Thursday, they had Matt Riddle's promotion do a little sideshow. The main event was Riddle versus Suzuki. That was the biggest draw of the match. And then also on Thursday, I believe Riddle won the Evolve title from Zack Sabre Jr., and Zack would announce the next day on Friday or Saturday that he was done with Evolve. So I don't know if that means he's just focusing on New Japan or whatever, but that really is a big loss for Evolve.
It is. I think he will be focusing more on New Japan because he is on a really hot streak there. He got a title shot at the last pay-per-view.
Yep.
He's been tearing it up lately, so I think they are making him into a big star over there.
Yeah, I saw his New Japan Cup run, and that was phenomenal. So, I was
yes.
All right, but the first show that me and Luke enjoyed was on Friday night. It was the Impact Wrestling vs. Lucha Underground on Twitch TV, which I wish more promotions would use Twitch TV because you get to air your shows for free to an audience, and it's a brilliant platform to use. And I think more wrestling promotions should start taking advantage of it. I know you don't make any money off people buying it, but you get exposure.
And you can make money from it, right?
There is a tipping service to Twitch, which apparently Wrestle Circus runs a lot of their shows on Twitch, and apparently their style is if you tip during a match, the tips go directly to that wrestler or those wrestlers in the match.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So I have not really engaged much with Wrestle Circus, so I don't know how their promotion is doing or whatever. I watched like 1 or 2 shows and I wasn't blown away, so I moved on.
Yeah, pretty much the same here.
Yeah. All right. Well, the show started with what's the Lucha Underground announcer name? I forget her name.
Melissa
Santos.
Santos.
Yeah, she came out hyping up Lucha Underground. The crowd goes yay, and then the TNA announcer mentions Impact Wrestling, and the crowd boos. Amazing already. I'm already worth my time and effort. So our opening contest was Chavo Guerrero, who milked his entrance for all it's worth. A solid minute before his music was playing before he walked out.
And it was the typical. It was Eddie Chance.
Eddie Chance. Yep. Jack Evans, who now is bald and looks really bad with no hair.
Yeah, he looks like he's in chemo right now.
Yeah.
My boy.
Yeah.
Become even more of a boy.
The monster Matanza Cueto. So that's awesome seeing him. Kind of weird that they'd have him wrestle, but I guess he was in town, so makes sense.
Lucha versus Impact,
Caleb Connolly, Luke's boy.
Oh God,
Luke's anti-boy.
And yeah,
And he was hurt in this match.
yeah. We'll get to that. Moose and Matt Sydal, who was everyone's boy.
Mm-hmm.
So they did the typical 2 in, 4 out. Basically, Chavo and Conley worked together. Jack Evans and Matt Sydal worked together, and Matanza and Moose worked together. So as I wrote down here, the two most boring wrestlers worked together and actually got the longest bit of a stretch to work together, going one-on-one. Not much to talk about in this match.
Not really. It was everybody got their spots in. It was quick paced. It was a good way to open the show, but nothing really to sink your teeth into.
Although Moose was a foot taller than everyone in this match. Even the monster.
He's a huge man.
He is a huge man. Conley looked like he hurt his knee or something. I don't know what that was about. Everyone did dives. Matanza just won out of nowhere. And that was it. And then Chavo Guerrero hyped up a promo package for the new season of Lucha Underground. So that was the highlight of the match, basically, for me.
Agreed. But it wasn't bad. It was a decent way to start the show.
Yep. Next, we had a match for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts title. I don't know how to pronounce those. Is it Impact Wrestling or is it just Impact what?
I think it's Impact Wrestling, but I don't.
Whatever.
But before that, remember they showed Famous B was supposed to be up next.
Oh yeah. Like they had a image of Famous B versus Trevor Lee. So it's like, oh, okay, this match is next. And it's like, okay, well, our next match is a women's match. It's like, oh, why did you hype that match up then? So that was weird. We had Allie taking on Taya Valkyrie. I have barely any notes for this match. Nothing special. Allie is a better version of Kelly Kelly.
Wow, that's not really saying a whole lot.
It's not.
This was just a really poor match, and I've seen Taya have good, competitive, fun matches in Lucha. She looked, I don't know if she was out of shape or what, but she wasn't looking her best, and Allie cannot do much. She's got to be dragged to a match, and dragged this match did.
Yes, this match was boring as hell. I don't remember having anything special, except that Allie won with a code breaker, and the crowd booed. So that's
don't not watch this match.
Then we had the match that Luke was most looking forward to, OVE versus Teddy Hart and Scott Steiner.
Oh God.
The Boy Mania.
Oh my God, I was so excited for this match.
Do you want to talk about this one, man?
I mean, yeah, I guess I could. So one thing that was great is as soon as Steiner comes out, you see he's got the Wolfpack colors on, the NWO shirt, the red and black, which is hilarious because he wasn't in.
He was never in the Wolfpack.
He wasn't in the Wolfpack, but. I don't know, since then, he's been putting himself over as, like, the best champion in the NWO history and stuff like that. But anyway, so basically Teddy is the guy who's going to do most of the work in this match, obviously, for that team. So he goes in and immediately hits, like, 2 ridiculous moves. You know, the typical Teddy Hart crazy moves.
But before that, hits a moonsault onto OVE as they're making their entrance.
Yeah, typical Teddy.
Right away, a moonsault. Like, first spot of the match, the moonsault.
And he hits this crazy move, and then he tries to hit another one, and he totally botches it and nearly necks the guy. And then, somehow, OVE just takes over. Like, those are my spots. Okay, you guys can take over for, like, 10 minutes or so. It was dragged and dragged and dragged. But then, and the crowd, all they wanted was Steiner the whole time. They're just chanting for Steiner.
Yeah. At one point, Steiner's just like walking the apron and literally stands in the middle of the hard cam, like asking for attack from Teddy Hart. So like the hard cam is just a picture of his back, basically.
Yeah.
So.
But finally, we get Steiner. He comes in and he just goes suplex wild. OVE's jumping off the top rope. He's catching them in belly to bellies and doing his thing, and eventually it just this goes on for a minute, and then he whips on the Steiner recliner, and OVE taps out.
There is also one thing, which was during the Teddy Hart Heat segment, one of OVE was like, they're throwing strikes at each other, and Matt Stryker, who was on commentary with Josh Matthews, so the most annoying commentary team of all time, Matt Stryker says they are shooting on each other with real punches.
Yeah.
Or no, it was like they're amateur wrestling or whatever, and just like, oh yeah, they're shooting on each other, and it's just like, good God, Striker.
Oh yeah, Striker on this show was insufferable.
Yeah, they both got insufferable later on. Though this match was built around Teddy Hart doing crazy shit and Scott Steiner getting the hot tag, which was fine.
Right. It was. I mean, it wasn't very good. It was too long, but it was what you would expect.
Yep. Then we had Desmond Xavier, Andrew Everett, and DJZ taking on Aerostar, Drago, and King Cuerno. So, Impact versus Lucha trio match. Have you seen DJZ recently, Justin?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so he has a great gimmick right now at indie shows and sometimes at Impact, where like he'll do a cool move and like yell the DJ, like DJ hit it, and he'll do like the air horn thing.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
That's a great.
It is a great gimmick, and it's something that should be put on TV more. If it's not already, I don't watch Impact, so, but I've seen it on the indies, and it's golden.
And DJZ's gotten quite a bit better in the ring, also.
He's phenomenal. I really enjoy his work.
He's very over right now, and I think he's still quite under the radar. For what he deserves right now. So.
All right. So basically, this was another Lucha spot fest. Everyone went in there, did arm drags, and counter for counter moves. Cuerno gets in there, does the Jeff Hardy pop, takes his shirt off in the ring, and then gets in I think it was Xavier, gets in a chop fest with Xavier, and his nipple gets busted open and is bleeding.
It hurts just to think about it.
Yeah, it was like, and he immediately got out of that ring and tagged out. Just lots of lucha action. At one point, Cuerno puts his shirt back on.
I think that might have been due to like the Louisiana said no bleeding.
Yeah, I think
for Mania weekend, so he probably had to put it back on.
Yep. Everyone does dives. DJZ and Andrew Everett do the Golden Triangle moonsault. Oh no, it wasn't that one. I'm sorry. No, it was the Finley roll moonsault thing.
That's the
very
name.
well put.
Yeah, that thing. It's the one where Kenny Omega yells, "You can't escape" thing.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And then Cuerno won with a out of nowhere tap out. And it was a bit of a lame finish, but everything else was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a fine match.
Spot fest.
Yes.
We had Trevor Lee taking on Famous B. Famous B came out, and I was already enjoying Famous B's gimmick. He had business cards he was hanging out to the crowd. Which
this was another time where Stryker came in and interrupted him.
He ruined the gimmick.
Like, just stop talking, please.
Famous B is doing his famous, his call 4, 2, 3, get fame. And Stryker's talking over it.
Saying the line.
Yeah.
Like, dude, this is for the fans and the crowd to get in on, not you. It was very JBL of him.
Yeah, it was a dick move. But Famous B's not wrestling tonight. His new client for one night only was Marty the Moth Martinez. So we got to see Marty wrestle Trevor Lee. Marty does a dive to the outside. It almost dies. Like, he overshot it big time. And Lee caught him.
It looked nasty. It looked like he was going to just eat the floor.
That was actually the story of Mania Weekend. And Justin, I don't know if you noticed this, but like almost every show had at least one guy that almost overshot a dive and killed himself.
Yeah.
Especially when we got to Ring of Honor.
ROH had like 4 matches in a row where that happened.
Lee
Martinez, yeah.
Trevor Lee hits a power bomb, so there's a $500 fine. I have written here, please shut up, Matt Stryker and Josh Matthews. I don't remember what the hell they were saying, but they're just annoying the shit out of me.
Commentary all weekend was mostly unbearable for most of the promotions, except NXT.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually true.
I don't remember ROH being bad.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't anything special.
Who was it? It was who was ROH?
Cabana and Ian.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Marty misses a moonsault and Lee rolls him up. So that was a blah match. So then we had the match of the night, which was for the Impact Tag Team titles, LAX versus Killshot and the Mac. These guys just went crazy. A lot of action. The Mac is fucking awesome. Let me just say that right now. Willie Mack, the Mac, he is phenomenal. Really sad he didn't go to WWE, but at the same time, like, him in Lucha Underground and on the Indies is great.
He still deserves more recognition on the Indies.
Absolutely.
He really does.
I really don't get why Super Dragon apparently decided just to stop booking him.
Not only that, but I think even Lucha, he's featured a lot, but he's never been treated like a top guy, really.
Yeah.
I think he should be.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah. LAX basically just had like great teamwork in this match. That was like the story of like the more veteran tag team is better at wrestling a tag team match. Killshot had a lot of great counters. I think there was one like where like a guy went for like a clothesline and he did the double stomp, the Trevor Lee double stomp, which was great. They had an amazing one where Killshot throws a guy off the top and Willie Mack pounces him in midair, which was
That was an amazing spot.
great timing on that spot. Powerbomb double stomp for a great near fall. They botched one like it was like a running power slam, but it was like the big comeback move too, so kind of like ooh, not good timing. But the LAX ended up retaining with their blockbuster powerbomb combination. A really good match. The only thing that held it back for me was the fact that you knew damn well that Killshot and the Mac were not going to win. So if it had just been a regular tag team match, it would have been a lot better, I think.
Yeah, but this was definitely the best match so far on the card. The pace was such a relief after a couple of those matches just dragged and were terrible. Like you had to suffer through them. But this was fun the whole way through. One thing that stood out in my mind was Ortiz for LAX. He's got this ridiculously stupid splash. You remember this? It was like a Ric Flair flop right on top of something.
Oh yeah. Okay, so like basically, like the other guy like drops him down. Like Ortiz runs the rope and then does like a Rey Mysterio phallic slant, like jumping splash. It's like you're not a big guy, like which would make sense. Like you're like 220 pounds soaking wet. Like
it was pretty funny.
Just it looked ridiculous.
Yeah, this was fun. And LAX is one of those teams that like you don't really hear much about the guys as individuals, but the guys can work.
Yeah, they're good. All right. Next we had Eli Drake taking on Brian Cage. Eli Drake cuts a pretty good promo before the match, just basically shitting on the crowd for booing when Impact Wrestling gets mentioned, but cheering when Lucha gets mentioned, which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
You know.
It seemed like he meant it too.
Yeah, it did. It like that's one thing that I liked about it was like you could tell like was like, oh, is that a shoot or what? Tries to convince Brian Cage to like, hey, fuck this match, let's go on the town, and you know, and then Brian Cage just proceeded to just murder him.
Yep, which was what you would expect from just looking at
Yeah.
the two guys.
Oh yeah,
Cage with his great dad bod.
Yeah, fantastic. That is the dad bod of goal right there. A nice little story of Eli Drake using his speed and actually doing some nice power moves, like lifting Cage up quite a few times. And then there's a cool spot where Eli jumps at Cage and like Cage catches him for a suplex. And then a weak finish where like Cage hit like some weird neck breaker. It almost looked like Curtis Axel's weird neck breaker he used to use when he was Michael McGillicuddy.
God, you never want that to be a wrestler.
No, yeah. When you're bringing up McGillicuddy wrestling, and you're like, it's like, oh yeah, I look like that. Like that's not a good compliment.
No.
But you actually had a good point about this match, Luke.
I don't remember what that was.
About Eli Drake.
Yeah, no.
That basically like. Okay, so at one point Eli Drake does the Flair flop, like takes a big move, gets up, starts yelling at Cage, flops down. And Luke mentions during the show, it's like, you know, this guy tries to be a serious wrestler, but he does goofy shit like this. Right. And it's like, it's hard to take him serious.
And it's not like Flair style either. It's like overly goofy.
Yeah.
It's a little ridiculous. Remember, he used to do the thing where he'd stand on the second rope and slip into the ring. It's like, you're the main event.
Yeah.
Like, you're a champion. Let some of this undercard goofiness go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that had a pretty average match. Brian Cage was awesome. Eli Drake held his own. Then we had the I Quit match with Eddie Edwards versus Jeremiah Crane, Jeremiah Crane is Sami Callihan on Impact, but they actually did a really cool job of covering up the name difference. Where like I think it was Matt Stryker, like it's like the three faces of Foley, Jeremiah Crane, Sami Callihan, whatever you call him, he's insane, all the same or whatever, something to that extent. It was like, okay, that's a nice little way of covering up the name difference. Eddie hits a dive to start, and I think was the safest dive of the night. I think Sami caught him pretty well. Powerbomb in the apron by Crane. And then, for some reason, like they're brawling in and out of the ring, they go backstage. And there's no cameras watching them. And then, like, 10 seconds later, both guys come back out, and Eddie's got chairs. So it's just like, did they fucking forget to put the chairs under the ring? Or, like, what the fuck? So, that was really dumb. The commentary for this match was fucking terrible. Everything bad about commentary from these two guys came full force in this match.
What was amazing is at this point it was like Josh Matthews was trying to reel Matt back in because he was so bad. Like Matthews was the voice of reason, and that's not good. You don't want that.
Yeah, it was really bad. Basically the extent of it was Josh Matthews was calling Callihan a son of a bitch for what he did to Eddie. Hey, did you see the Eddie spot, Justin?
I did not, no.
Okay, basically...
This was like a month ago?
Yeah, like a month ago. Like, Callihan did the spot where he puts a chair on Eddie's face, shittily. Like, Eddie has to, like, hold it steady in this camera shot. And Callihan takes a bat and is supposed to, like, hit the chair into Eddie's throat. And, oh my god. He missed the fucking chair. And hit Eddie right in the face with a fucking bat.
Jesus.
And, like, busted Eddie up badly. Like,
broke his orbital bone.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So, immediately, like, of course, like, everyone on Twitter and everything like that is, like, shitting all over Callihan. Callihan, to his credit, fucking kayfabed the hell out of this and just like, yeah, I did it, and I'll do it again. Like, it made, like, t-shirts about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, God bless Sami Callihan for that. And then they made a match out of it. So, like, good on him for, like, keeping the booking alive. But at the same time, don't ever fucking do that spot again. And if you do, use a fake fucking bat, for God's sakes.
Oh, shit.
So the match is going along. It's just spot, no real story, no real...
Brawl, walk and brawl. And
set up a spot, do the spot, They did the Tower of Chairs spot, and Callihan does, like, the sunset flip up the top and is going to powerbomb Eddie in the chairs. He fucking knocks the tower over when he does the flip, though. So he has to powerbomb him and then set a chair back up and do, like, another move on the setup chair.
Yeah, it wasn't...
Fucking amazing.
But a lot of the match, they did spend, like, trying to set up that, tease the spot. I'm going to put the chair on him and hit him with the baseball bat again, which is... I like that. You got to play up towards it. The only problem is the fucking spot still looks dumb as shit because Eddie still has to hold the chair.
Yeah. Well, but no, there was more before that, though. Eddie calling Crane Solomon Crow, which got an NXT chat, which was funny. Sami grabbing a barricade and throwing it into the ring for a spot. And I think Matt Stryker was like, oh, it's like Conor McGregor up in here, referencing Conor McGregor throwing shit at the bus.
Current.
Yeah, very funny. They go to do the same spot with the chair and the bat, and a producer runs out and throws in the towel for Eddie.
It was Don Callis, actually.
Okay, Don Callis. There you go.
Which was that was actually, I enjoyed the way that was done because Callis came out, and I'm a big Don Callis mark. He comes out and you can hear him audibly yelling, "Do not fucking do this," and then throws in the towel. Which I love Don Callis, but I would have liked to see this play out. Get a little bit of a payoff on Mania weekend, but well.
Yeah.
You don't hear about too many Don Callis marks out there, really.
I don't even know who Don Callis is.
He's a commentator for New Japan.
Oh, okay. I just never see him. Like, they never show him on camera.
He was in ECW.
Okay. Oh yeah, I love his commentary. He's fucking awesome. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. And then Moose runs off Sami Callihan at the end of the match. So, because, like, Moose is teaming up with Eddie in the storyline for some reason. They're friends. And, yep.
Friendship.
Yay! But this match, I was super excited for this match, and this ended up shitting the bed big time for me. Like, very disappointed. Especially coming from two very good workers. Like,
I'll be honest with you, though. Sami Callihan, most of his matches since he came back from the Indies, I've felt that way. Like, oh, I'm excited. Sammy's, because I know he's a good wrestler, but there's something about them. They fall flat. They're all brawls. I don't know.
Yeah, I hear what you mean.
I also don't think Eddie Edwards is at the same physical condition he was in when he was, at his peak. I think he's kind of past his prime a little bit also.
I think so.
Yeah, but like also he's like in his prime was like 5 years ago almost. So.
But the thing is, he hasn't replaced any of that with like charisma, unfortunately.
No, Eddie doesn't have charisma, unfortunately.
He can't do the same spots he used to do. So now he's kind of just a guy now, unfortunately.
Right.
Unless he does something different.
Yeah, I like Eddie.
I do too.
Yeah. Then we had our main event. It was supposed to be a tag team match, but Alberto El Patron no-showed.
So this was going to be Aries and
Phoenix versus Pentagon and Del Rio, I think.
Okay.
I think that's what it was going to be. So we have Pentagon Dark versus Phoenix versus Austin Aries in a triple threat match. The crowd serenades all three guys with a "fuck Del Rio" chant, to which Aries does his classic just post in the corner and just kind of like looks around like, oh, I don't know,
I guess so.
Yeah, and so yeah, this was just crazy, like I think it was like 12 minutes of like just bell to bell action,
The crowd was whooped at this point though. They were tired. They didn't, and they're not getting the main event they were promised. Yeah. So they were just out of this match. But it was good. The guys worked hard,
Yep.
To me, it felt like any Phoenix versus Pentagon match, and then they plugged Aries in every once in a while.
Yeah, like the finish was Pentagon pinning Phoenix with I think was the package pile driver, or no, it was like the Shingo Made in Japan maneuver.
Yeah.
And then like Aries is on the floor like just like out of it and just like, okay, so is someone gonna run on and attack? Like I thought, like okay, Del Rio's gonna run on and attack Aries, and like that's how they're gonna get heat for their pay-per-view match. Nope, Aries just like eventually gets up and like just leaves, and it's like, okay. And so it came out after this show that Del Rio had in fact just no-showed, said he wasn't feeling good, but then changed his story that it was something to do with his family, But long story short, TNA has fired him, or Impact Wrestling. Sorry, they're not Impact Wrestling, or not TNA anymore. They fired Del Rio, thank God. So the new main event for their Redemption pay-per-view, which is in a few weeks, I think actually this weekend, is going to be Aries, Pentagon, and Phoenix. So the same match we got for free, we're going to get on pay-per-view now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Man,
well,
has anyone gotten more unwarranted chances than Alberto Del Rio?
He's a piece of shit.
I don't understand it either. I mean, obviously he's got his world titles that he can point to from WWE, but even WWE has given him so many chances. It's very strange.
Yeah.
Even his titles in WWE, people are like, why do you keep pushing this guy? Because no one gives a shit about him. So, I don't know. I don't know what people have seen in him for so long, but I think they're starting to see him for who he is. So.
Well, and according to Del Rio, he's retiring within the next year, which he's been saying that for fucking ever too. So,
please do.
Good riddance. Fuck off.
That's what you hear from guys that are blackballed.
Yeah.
Because Davey Richards said that for like 5 years straight.
Yeah.
Didn't Low Key say that at one point?
Yeah.
Yep. He retired a couple times. He's still there. So I guess the only guy that retired a couple times but hasn't actually been blackballed is Terry Funk, I guess.
Yeah.
And Foley, I guess,
Well, he was also old. And
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't really have much of a choice, but and we also should mention that Del Rio didn't just no-show an event. He was at the press conference 2 hours before in the same building, and he didn't show up. It's like all you had to do was not leave. Literally just sit.
Yeah.
And he couldn't make it.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, let's move on to
better things.
Brighter past.
Yeah. So let's talk about Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor had a pretty damn good show. All right. So this was, I don't know what the venue was, but they got nearly 6,000 people in this place.
That's incredible.
Sold out show, 6,000 people. The biggest ROH show ever, which is phenomenal. We started things off with Chucky T versus Jonathan Gresham.
Boy match here.
Boy match, yeah. Chucky T, everyone's
Yeah.
boy. Jonathan Gresham, up and coming boy.
Yeah, love me some Gresh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who wants to lead on these
Maybe we should let Justin talk.
Yeah, Justin, you haven't talked, so you get to talk about these matches.
Well, I thought this was a really good opener for this show, since this was going to be a longer show than a lot of ROH shows. They kind of opened it up with a nice, fast-paced, kind of an exhibition. Both guys just kind of showed up what they could do. I thought the wrestling was very fluid in this match. These guys just worked really smoothly together. And it was about 8 minutes, not too long, but a nice way to get the crowd into the show, I thought.
Yep.
So I enjoyed this.
A few memorable things for me. One was Gresham overshooting Chuck Taylor in a dive and nearly braining himself on the floor. That was terrifying. Chuck Taylor getting whipped, like reverse Irish whipped, and goes into a hug Trent. That was great.
That was fantastic.
Gresham is very, very smooth in the ring. I love how just crisp he is with his wrestling. The only thing I didn't like though was that Chuck Taylor rolls him up to win, and it's just so.
Yeah.
Gresham, the better wrestler of the two, and Chuck Taylor would admit that to himself, gets rolled up by Chuck Taylor. It's like, come on, you couldn't think of a better finish.
And the problem with it was that Gresham that's the only thing that makes him stand out, is that he's a fantastic technical wrestler, Yes. I remember it was a couple pay-per-views ago, I think they were stalling for time, and so they sent him out there to cut a promo, and it was the worst. It was cringeworthy. So I think, yeah, I agree with you on that, booking the finish like that. I wasn't a big fan of, but it was smooth. It was fine. It's not like Gresham's super over, so people are going to be upset, but if you want to get him over, I wouldn't go that route.
No, absolutely not. Plus, Chuck Taylor doesn't need to win. Chuck Taylor could have lost. So.
True, yeah. Are we gonna do star ratings for?
I'll give it 2.25.
I'm just gonna pass on the star ratings.
All right, yeah. I'll give rating for the matches that were really good, but everything else that was just I'm not gonna rate.
I give it 2 3/4. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna rate matches because that's what I do.
Okay, you go ahead. You go right ahead. I watch so much wrestling nowadays. I just rate the matches that are 4 stars or higher.
I'm just OCD with my wrestling watching, and I just have to rate every match I watch. So.
I feel like my rating system depends too heavily on the mood I'm in. So
true. Yeah.
I don't know how reliable it is.
That fits very much into the main event, which we'll get into.
Great.
All right. Shall we continue?
Yes, by all means.
Oh, I love this next part.
Yes.
This part. So we see the commentators, and they're just standing in front of the crowd, and some weird dude in face paint comes up, and I love Cole Cabana just turns and says, "There is no security here."
Fantastic.
Great.
I just love that he no-sodes the voodoo guy. He's not freaked out. He's just like, "There's no security here, right?" What the heck? Just fucking knows. Oh my god.
Then of course this guy ends up being a member of Punishment Martinez entrance crew.
Yeah, he gets a creepy voodoo dude in an entrance out of a tomb and with a creepy mask and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that was cool.
And they're trying to dress him up a little bit. They're doing what they can with Punishment.
Yeah. Shall we talk about the match?
Yeah, by all means.
I really enjoyed this quite a bit.
We should mention who he was facing.
Yeah, who's yeah, come on.
Punishment Martinez versus Tomohiro Ishii. It was kind of funny to see just how much Ishii was dwarfed by Martinez.
Yeah.
Because it was unbelievable. I thought Martinez looked really good in this match. I was really impressed by him. He looks like he's improved his agility quite a bit. Just how fluid he is in the ring now. He's still kind of doing just goes from spot to spot, look what I can do type stuff. But it works when he's in there with a guy like Ishii who can kind of, help him figure out when to slow down and tell a little bit of a story. So I think Martinez is on the upswing for sure. He definitely overshadowed Ishii in this, but I think that was the point. And I thought they had a really fun, again, about 8 minutes, packed a lot into it. Liked it quite a bit.
Yeah. I did like that, the story basically was Ishii couldn't strike as hard as he usually does because Martinez is a foot taller than him, so he had to strike upward, so it took away a lot of his power. Martinez really was trying to get over here, doing 2 crazy dives, including one that was a full-on face plant. He dove straight up over Ishii, Like he did like a dive over the turnbuckle, which was crazy to see a guy.
It looked like he landed on his head, and he just kind of rolled through it, and he was okay.
Yep, and then hits another like step up, Tope con Halo.
Yeah.
A Hurricane at one point.
Yeah.
It's just he was fucking trying his hardest to get over.
Yeah, he was moving too.
Yeah.
He was...
and he got the clean win over
he
Ishii. That was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So
this was a fun match. You know, I enjoyed the story in it. Just to add to what you mentioned, Alex, is that I really like that. It seemed like the story was Punishment was using his length. He was hitting him with boots and stuff, keeping him at length.
Yeah.
And then Ishii, he knew that he had to close the gap because if he's a striker, he's got to get inside that so he can land strikes. And so you don't see that a lot in wrestling. Sometimes those real fight stories that happen in actual fights, they don't really take those into account and add them in. So I really enjoyed that.
All right, cool. Since I'm rating everything, I gave this 3 1/4. Thought it was pretty darn good.
Yeah. I'm very much interested in if Martinez is going to be getting a New Japan tour coming up, because that's why they give him the clean win over a guy like Ishii.
I think it would be pretty good for him.
Mm-hmm.
He'd get to work with a lot of really talented guys, and people tend to improve a lot when they go on a New Japan tour. So.
Yeah.
And Punishment's kind of interesting because I don't have any strong feelings about him, but I want to watch to see how he's going to improve, what situations they'll put him in, because they don't seem to be shoving him down our throats yet.
Yeah, which it's appreciated. Like they're not like forcing this guy on us. Like they're letting us slowly get to know him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
Well, Alex, why don't you lead us into the next
All
one?
right. Next up, we had Kota Ibushi versus Hangman Adam Page. This was really nicely because like both these guys are involved in the Bullet Club Civil War. Page being on Cody's side and Ibushi being Kenny Omega's partner. Both guys went at it right away. A lot of action. There was just, Page looking great as always. The guy has improved so much in a very, 2-year period? Yeah. Ibushi does an awesome spot where he German suplex Page off the guardrail, and a Page looked like he landed right on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Very scary spot. Page got a good near falls. Page hits a perfect moonsault to the outside. He is incredibly athletic for a guy who can be not only very powerful, but just like very quick and strong in the ring.
And he doesn't look like the type of guy that can hit these.
Doesn't look like a high flyer.
Right.
Finish was fantastic. Kota Ibushi goes for the Kamigoya, the knee to the face. Page blocks it, so Ibushi hits a straightjacket German with his arms locked. Page kicks out of 2. Ibushi keeps the arms locked and delivers the knee to win. That was beautiful. Loved it.
Awesome finish, yeah.
Awesome finish. I love that. Basically, Page had the finishing move scouted. So Ibushi took he's like, okay, he's expecting this. Like, I'm going to do something else. And then, used the kick out to basically, roll into his finisher. That is awesome. I love that kind of stuff in a match.
I just wanted to mention the spot where Ibushi jumped up to the top turnbuckle and then did the moonsault outside. He normally kind of jumps over into the middle rope, but this one he went all the way up, and it just got so much height on it, and it looked absolutely beautiful. But I liked that Ibushi looked like he had to pull out some extra tricks like that in this match to beat Page, which I think helped make Page look stronger. Because it seemed like, especially during that finishing sequence, it seemed like Ibushi was getting really desperate and had to do what he did in order to beat him. And so this was like a perfect way to show a veteran guy beating a guy, but still making that guy look strong and like he's a threat.
Yeah, I agree. I gave this one 4 stars. I loved it.
I went 4 1/4. I really, really enjoyed this.
Yeah, thumbs up from me. I think that you could argue that this is Page's best singles match.
It's up there for sure.
He had some really good matches with Jay Briscoe.
I think this is his best match for me personally. Yeah.
All right. Next up, we had the finals of the Women of Honor Championship Tournament. The inaugural champion, Kelly Kian
Kelly Klein.
Klein, sorry, versus Sumi
Sakai.
Sumi Sakai. Thank you. Yeah, so Sumi Sakai attacks Kelly right away because Kelly attacked her after Sumi had won her semifinal match. So that makes a little bit of sense. They just started going at it. No real flow or story to this match. It was just two girls doing moves. Daphne was at ringside, which is cool. She looks a lot different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that was weird to see. Women of Honor come out to watch the match, like try to get the crowd into it, like banging on the apron and everything like that. Yeah. Sumi overshoots a moonsault off the top rope, which I think was supposed to be the finish because they immediately went into a different move.
Yeah.
Sumi hits a DDT, and Kelly doesn't. I think Sumi expected Kelly to kick out, and then they'd redo the finish.
Mm-hmm.
And when Kelly didn't, Sumi just looked like befuddled and like, what the fuck happened, and looked pissed off.
Yeah, this was a kind of an all-around weird match for me because this is like their first Women of Honor title. You would think they would feature this more, maybe as a bigger match on a smaller show, or at least in a different spot on the card, because this was sandwiched between two pretty big, pretty great matches, and it felt like a filler match where it was positioned, kind of like a come down from the previous.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, it was only seven minutes and change long, but they felt like they were trying to have a more epic match. It wasn't like a sprint or anything like that. And then they had all the women on the outside. So everything about kind of the presentation and just this being the first one, should have been a better match. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it was just kind of disappointing, I think.
Anything to add to this, Luke?
Yeah, I mean, this one was particularly rough because of the other women's matches we would see later in the weekend.
Yeah.
But my thing was, if Sumi's gonna win, why would you not put in a bigger name against her? You know, like, I get it. I thought Kelly Klein would win because, like, okay, they're gonna try and get their own talent over.
Right.
But they didn't do that, and Kelly Klein clearly didn't really have any business being in that spot. And for someone who's like a first-time watcher of ROH or new to it, and even with the Women of Honor division becoming new, it's new to everybody. So when you see that, it doesn't leave a very good taste in your mouth after that match because it doesn't compare to the other women's wrestling going on.
Yeah. My biggest thing is, if Ring of Honor wants to have a women's division, that's fine. But why don't you just bring in girls from Shimmer? Shimmer doesn't have very many shows they run. They usually just run like a weekend in Chicago, like every 2 months, whatever. Like, I'm sure you could borrow their champions and a few of their main draws, and you can have a decent women's division on the card. You don't need to have your own division, especially when you don't have anyone recognizable or a big name to really sell the division. Right. The biggest name they had was Emma, who did make it to the finals.
That's exactly it. She should have made it. Even if she's too expensive, you can't book her after that, she should have been in the finals to get your title over.
Something, man. But no, apparently she's signing a long-term deal with ROH. It's like, she's clearly going to be here for a while, so...
Well, then they didn't want her to lose. But
I guess.
She already lost, so I don't know.
Who the fuck cares? Yeah, not a great start to their women's division. Kind of a thumbs down for me.
Yeah, definitely skip this one.
Yeah, I give it 2 stars. I think that might even be a little generous because it wasn't that great of a match. So, yeah.
Oh well.
Shall we move on?
Yeah. Next, we had the match of the night, which was the 6-man tag team championship match. It's a ladder match. Wasn't a ladder war, unfortunately. It was the Young Bucks and Flip Gordon taking on the champions, SoCal Uncensored. Great hot start to begin with, which I love that it was basically like SoCal Uncensored tries to clear the ring real quick and quickly climb up the ladders, and everyone just keeps cutting them off, so they quickly realize, okay, get the ladders out of the ring, let's just start beating the hell out of these guys. Which makes a lot of sense, and I like that they had that little story element in the beginning of the match. It was also really, it was great because there was one ladder in the ring, and everyone just kind of kept trying to keep climbing up it. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed that spot.
A ton of crazy spots. Flip Gordon is insane.
Yes.
He is a madman.
Yeah, some of the spots he was hitting on the top of that ladder were incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt Jackson continues to sell his back that has been hurt since Wrestle Kingdom, which I love that is being carried over into like every one of his matches now.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. A couple of great moments I had written down here was Nick Jackson hopping ladder to ladder to ladder and then doing a dive on the opposite side of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
That was like we've seen him do it before, but like that was just ridiculous. Bucks look like they're going to win, and then the Kingdom runs out to interfere after being barred from ringside or banned from the building. So apparently no one checked to make sure they were actually there.
Yeah, no one locked the door.
Yeah, they didn't even have like security come out to like run them off. Like they just had them there as extra bodies for spots for the rest of the match. So that kind of annoyed me.
Yeah. I would say, unlike a lot of matches where you get interference like that, it didn't slow down and didn't.
No,
a lot of times people run out and just hit a bunch of moves and it will just kind of stop for a while, and they just came in and it instantly went into the flow of the match, and it felt organic.
Yeah.
And it never bothered me. So.
Yeah, I agree. It was just basically like extra bodies for the.
But where was Bully Ray or Bubba? Where the fuck was he?
Oh, we'll get to him later. You know.
He's supposed to be the enforcer.
God. Yeah, I did like that the Kingdom just started taking out both teams, so like everyone decides like, okay, fuck the Kingdom, let's beat them up then.
Mm-hmm.
Flip had the craziest spot of the match, which was that like all 6 guys are in the ring on 3 ladders, all battling for the belts. Flip Gordon stands on top of a 15-foot ladder, super kicks Scorpio Sky, Kaz sweeps his legs, and the guy like bangs his chin on the ladder and falls to the ground. It was insanity. It was It was insane.
Flip is trying so hard to get over and make a star out of himself. I just hope he doesn't kill himself in the process.
No kidding. God dang.
Yeah.
Dual 450s from Nick Jackson and Flip Gordon, like on the outside into like Scorpio Sky and I think one of the Kingdom guys. Matt and Daniels fighting the ladder. Daniels knocks it over, and then Matt, for whatever reason, is like, well, if I'm going on the outside, I might as well do an elbow drop off the top of a ladder onto 2 of the Kingdom guys.
Yeah.
And Daniels gets the belts to win it for SoCal Uncensored. And then the Kingdom steals the belts, which will probably lead to an angle on TV. Maybe they'll do a 3-way, 6-man tag team match or something.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense, yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, this was an awesome match. It was crazy throughout. What you'd expect from all these guys.
Yeah.
This is one of the... I don't know, this is a match where I watch it and it actually felt dangerous. Like, it felt like a lot of guys weren't in control. So it was like, if you're going to show a new wrestler how to do a ladder match, I would never show him this one because it was so insane. But it was awesome. I loved it. Yeah. I just don't recommend doing it.
Yeah.
I give it 4.5. Fantastic ladder match. Crazy spots. Everyone got over, especially Flip Gordon. Honestly, though, like with the Kingdom coming out and everything, it's like you should just made this a 3-way match with the Kingdom added. But and I don't think it would take anything away from it. But oh no, who knows? But that's.
I think it at least kind of added into the story that Kingdom are just trying to insert themselves into the situation, kind of, which they successfully did.
Yeah.
I think there was a nice story element to that. And in general, I thought this match had a lot of really great spots. There was a lot of like strategy being involved as well, which you don't always see in a ladder match.
Yes.
A lot of interesting teamwork, a lot of interesting double team spots, and all that. So, yeah, I gave this 4.5 as well. Thought it was one of the better ladder matches in recent memory.
Yep, that was pretty damn good. Well, until we got to NXT later.
Right. It got blown away a few days later, but yeah.
Actually, it was the same night.
Okay, well, I watched this out of order. I have no concept of time anymore.
ROH Tag Team Championship match. The Briscoes taking on the team of Jay Lethal and Hiroshi Tanahashi. This was a very house show style match. I have nothing written down for this match.
I don't remember much about it, to be honest.
There's nothing to it.
I felt like Lethal worked hard because he always does, but there's something about Tanahashi and ROH that really doesn't do anything for me. It's very house show matches, and the crowd isn't even that into it anymore. You know, like nobody believes he's gonna be the tag champion. So it was nobody could get into this.
Yeah.
This was all Jay Lethal for his team. Honestly, this whole match was kind of all Jay Lethal because the Briscoes were also kind of just going through the motions.
Yeah.
It was fine. Like it was a solid match, but no one did anything to make it anything beyond that. Like these guys can all sleepwalk their way through a 3-star-ish match, and I think that's exactly what they did. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Briscoes win with the Doomsday on Lethal, I think.
Yes, they did.
Yeah. Because Tanahashi can't get pinned.
Or both.
Right.
Yeah. Last man standing match for the ROH TV title. Kenny King, the champion, taking on Silas Young. Before this match began, Austin Aries came out with a banana and his belts and joined commentary. I love the belt collector gimmick. I think it's a great gimmick for the indies.
Yes.
I can't imagine carrying all those belts around.
That has to be like the shittiest gimmick of like, it's a great gimmick, but like it has to be a pain in the ass on you.
Traveling.
It was great though because he comes out for commentary and he's just like, "Oh, you don't have a place for me to set my belts. Like, there's no room for me to." That was amazing. So Kenny King and Silas Young go at it. Kenny King almost immediately uses the last chancery, and Aries is just like, "Oh, I'm gonna have to show him how to tighten it up and use it properly." Great spot. Yep, they do a lot of cool stuff, a lot of basic brawling wrestling. Started using tables right away. Like Silas Young did a great, like Kenny King runs at him, Silas picks him up and drops him on the outside, and you don't even see him like land on the table. You just hear the impact. That was a great camera shot, I thought.
Yeah.
Kenny King does a great backbreaker on the turnbuckle to Silas. A couple times, I don't remember what Silas and Kenny were doing Kenny did the blockbuster on the outside to Silas. And Silas Young was sweating so much, he was sliding on the floor mats.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Did you catch that, Justin?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I love it.
It was awesome. Yeah, so if nothing else, this match is worth going back to watch for Aries' commentary and that alone.
Yeah. I will say I did like this match, but it felt kind of clunky. Like, sometimes it was kind of just trying to get to the next spot, and sometimes they just didn't really know what they were doing at times to get between. And then it just felt like a series of spots, ultimately, without much flow in between. That said, I still thought it was enjoyable. I think the gimmick helped in that sense that it was last man standing, so it kind of worked, but...
I liked Silas. Silas had one of my favorite spots in the last man standing match, which is he gets hit with a big move in the ring, so he rolls out to the floor and uses that to help him stand up. I love that spot.
Yeah.
That's a great spot. Kenny King had a great, he was trying to set up a table and yells at the camera crew, "Move, bitch." And so the crowd starts chanting, "Move, bitch, get out the way."
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard that chant.
Can we talk about the finish?
Yes.
What we thought about the finish.
Beer City Bruiser does a run out. Kenny King takes him out really quickly, and Beer City fucks off underneath the ring. Kenny King hits off the top rope to the outside a beautiful shooting star press. Very pretty.
Amazing, yeah.
Awesome looking spot. So both him and Silas are down. Kenny goes to stand up, and the Beer City Bruiser has zip tied Kenny King's legs, so he can't get up, and Silas gets up to win. Honestly, it goes back. It goes back to that John Cena Batista thing where Cena duct tape Batista. It's a clever idea for a finish. It's just if the rest of the match was actually good, I probably would have appreciated it But I don't know. It's a
little goofy.
Yeah, it's clever that it uses the gimmick that well, but it doesn't. It just makes the crowd, I think, feel like they've been cheated out of a real finish.
So my problem is, to me, that is like a comedy match finish. That's like a Toru Yano type maneuver, I would say. And this was like a last man standing match on pay-per-view for the title, and I felt like they'd been having a more serious feud and a more serious match up till that point, and I just felt like something about the tone of that finish was off for me.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I think that, for me, it would have been fine had this been their last match, or the match before that, where this is building towards your blow-off, but this feud has been endless. And then this, I mean, I'm hoping this is the finish, but it seems like they're going to drag it on with Aries involved. But
Yeah.
Well, there's a title change, so King's going to want to get his title
Just like
back.
end
he lost
this.
They're going to be doing a triple threat match probably.
Yeah, they're probably going to do at least one more.
Yeah, because Aries runs out to save Kenny King after the match. Actually had a great line. It's like the Beer City Bruiser and Styles are beating up King after the match. And Aries is like, well, now the match is over, now I can go out there and help him. And like just like books it down to help him. Does his dive through the middle and bottom rope, which is cool. So, yep. So we'll look forward to probably Aries versus Silas versus Kenny King. I'd rather just see Kenny King versus Aries, though.
It's weird that he's coming back and he's going straight for the mid-card title, you know?
Yeah. Well, he's champion at Impact.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Then we
This was a fine match, though.
Yeah.
I gave this 3, which may be slightly generous, but I thought it was really good. And then the ending kind of let me down a little bit. But
well, speaking of disappointment, we had Cheeseburger and Eli Isham versus the Dogs, Rhett Titus and Will Ferrell.
The Dogs.
The Dogs.
The
Sorry, the
Dogs,
Dogs.
yeah.
Whatever. You see how much I care about these fucking guys' gimmick. Everyone
almost like
involved in this
perfectly
match could
bad.
leave ROH today, and I wouldn't miss him. Even Cheeseburger. He's a nice guy, but
Do you think their gimmick is supposed to be serious, or it's supposed to be
it's
like,
Rhett
we're laughing
Titus.
at
Nothing. I don't take anything Rhett Titus does seriously.
okay? Because it's kind of hard to tell sometimes.
The thing is,
Sometimes they're taken seriously, other times they're played as goofs. But
I think
don't know.
that they want to build them as like a tag team that they could put on in maybe on house shows as competitive, but it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the Dogs attack Eli and do a chair shot to his knee, so he can't wrestle. Bully comes out and Burger's like, he's like, okay, Burger, let's pick a tag team partner. And Cheeseburger says he picks Bully Ray, and the crowd cheers. And so they start doing the match, and it's just get your shit in house show stuff.
I just want to mention that it didn't just like, I pick you, let's start the match.
They milked this for like 5
Ice
fucking
Age.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by this point, it was probably like 11:30 when this hit was going on.
Yeah, and you and I were like, please end this. Like,
yeah. Oh my
anything
god.
else.
So they do the stuff, like Bully does the get the tables after the what's up, and then choke slams the holy hell out of Cheeseburger. Oh my god, Bully Ray's turned heel. Cuts a pretty good heel promo, I'll say, calling out like all the indie guys, you know, Will Ospreay and, you know, whoever else. Ricochet, I think he called out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Joe Kaufman comes out and he threatens him. Flip Gordon comes out and Bully amazingly like picks up Cheeseburger with one hand while holding the microphone. It's like, I'll pile drive Cheeseburger and the Louisiana State Commission will shut this show down. Which I'm just like, it's almost worth it just for that spot. It was almost worth it for that. And then he puts on his Hall of Fame ring, and I'm a Hall of Famer. Powerbombs Cheeseburger, and he runs away. So
And that was that.
yeah. Oh, so do you want to give you the spoilers for where this angle goes?
Sure.
Joe on the recent ROH TV that just got taped yesterday. Joe Koff fires Bully Ray, and Bully Ray comes out of retirement. So all that fucking build-up to him retiring last year is now meaningless because he's back in wrestling again. For fuck's sake.
Not exactly like The Undertaker, is it?
No, I wonder if he had to retire for the WWE to induct him in the Hall of Fame.
Could be, yeah.
I wonder if that was it.
Maybe.
That makes sense, yeah.
I don't know.
But this whole segment could have been on television. I did not need to see a second of it.
It was fucking pointless.
Especially on a long show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Terrible. Then we had the true main event of the evening. Cody Rhodes versus Kenny Omega.
I was shocked.
No idea why this wasn't going on last.
Yeah.
No idea.
I get, you know, prioritizing your title and putting it on last, but this is like a special. This is like, you know, the Bullet Club Civil War. This is like Is this the first singles match between these two guys?
Yes, it is.
So this is a big match.
This was also the match that was on every poster for this show.
Yeah.
And this is why everybody showed up.
Yeah, this is why they sold the house. Cody Rhodes comes out rocking an eye patch, selling the recent injury he suffered in New Japan during a tag team match with the Golden Lovers. He also came out with Brandy and Bernard the Business Bear from Being the Elite.
We never quite figure out his identity.
It was just a jobber, I think. It wasn't anyone.
Yeah.
I don't think it was supposed to be anyone.
Yeah.
Omega takes out Bernard right away, including like taking his head off, which went into the crowd, and some fan was sitting there for most of the night with the fucking head on, which was awesome. And Bernard gets kicked out. Cody Rhodes teased Shattered Dreams, which got a pop out of me. I was really hoping he was going to do it, but he didn't. It was like great heel. Cody also, at one point, is working over Omega. He looks at Brandy and yells, "Get me the gimmick!" So he gets thrown like powder or whatever. The referee's like, no, takes it away, and he kicks Omega low.
Great stuff.
Cody is a old school heel done right. I fucking love him.
Absolutely. And he worked the match like an old school heel, kind of working over a body part, and like I just like this. I thought these guys played their roles perfectly. Cody, like the old school heel, came in with a superior strategy. And ultimately, Omega was just, too athletic for him. Or, he actually got lucky by taking his openings, and V-Trigger ended up, opening up stuff.
Well, and speaking of that, like, working the V-Trigger, Cody goes after his legs as the figure four, and is screaming at Omega as he's doing it. "I'm the leader. Which...
That was awesome, yeah.
Brandy goes through a table.
Oh, shit,
Great bump. I think that's like the first bump I've ever seen her take.
Yeah, she was.
Well, and actually, she's done like a bump for Flip Gordon, I think.
Yeah, she's done
That's right. First table bump she's never done then.
But I like how Cody was so focused on the match that she was just kind of taken away and...
By Flip Gordon.
Yeah, and Cody, didn't really care that much.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I thought that was great.
Yep. Cody countered the one-wing angel again into a cop killer. That was awesome.
That was terrifying, but yeah, safe.
Really well executed, though.
Yes, very safely executed. They have a ref bump, and then out come the Young Bucks, who have been in the middle of this...
Whose side are they on?
Yeah, whose side are they on? They've been in the middle of this storyline with Cody and Omega, and they seemingly chose Omega, go to super kick Cody. Cody ducks, they super kick Omega, crossroads by Cody, and Cody Rhodes wins in a great match.
Yeah, great match.
I liked that this wasn't a finale to the feud. This is just another chapter. And that now it gets even more complicated because the Bucks chose Omega, but hit him by mistake. And so, like, Omega thinks they didn't choose him. They chose Cody.
Yeah, this had kind of everything it needed for being the first match. They did a lot of awesome stuff and managed a bunch of, unique near falls. So it wasn't just like... Sometimes you see the first match in a series and there's no real drama to it. And it's like one finisher and it's over. But, like, when Omega hit, like, 20 V-triggers on Cody and pinned him, and I kind of bit on that near fall myself.
I also loved during that spot, like, Cody is just egging him on to keep, like, hitting him with the V-triggers. That was cool.
Oh, yeah. But and then it ended in a way to perfectly continue the feud.
Yes.
And actually heighten the conflicts between the two men and the group at large. So I thought, it was pretty much... It wasn't like a perfect match, but it played its role in this feud perfectly.
I totally agree.
I gave it a four stars, personally.
Same?
Yeah. Absolutely recommend. I mean, amazing. Like, you guys pretty much covered it head to toe, so it's great.
And it was like 37 or like 30 minutes long, I think. And
Yep.
it never felt its length either.
The only downfall of this match is once it was over, I was ready. I was done.
That was the pop.
Yeah.
That was the pop. But instead, we had the ROH World Title match between champion Dalton Castle and the villain, Marty Scurll. Scurll, yeah. Marty Scurll, as Jim Gibbs Jr. pronounces it. So immediately right before this match started, me and Luke are both dog-tired and just like, this is a 15-minute sprint. Go home quick. They didn't do that. They went 30 fucking minutes for this match.
Way too long.
Oh my.
Horrible mistake.
Yeah. So very slow pace. Marty works the arm work, setting up for not only the chicken wing, but also taking away Dalton's strength. Very smart, you know. A few cool spots, but they spent like fucking 10 minutes on the floor.
Yeah, get in the ring, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crowd was dead. Nick what's Magnus's real name? Nick Aldis?
Nick Aldis.
Aldis, yeah. He's on the floor. He gives Marty clippers to take the turnbuckle pad off, which I don't think really played a big part in the match at all.
No.
It was just weird. It's like, okay. At one point, Marty goes on the floor and is looking for his gimmick, which was powder. For no joke, it was like a solid 2 minutes on the floor.
Well, he went to each post like twice.
And he was furious. So Dalton goes out there just like, okay, fuck it, we're doing something else. And like Marty takes him out again, finds the gimmick, does the powder, gets powdered in the eyes, and then does the great spot, which is him snapping the ref's fingers. And then Dalton hits the bangerang, but Sinclair can't count because his fingers are broken. Which they did in PWG one time, and I fucking love this spot. So
Sinclair actually sold that really, really well.
Oh, it's a great spot. It's just like, God, if you had just done this like, 15 minutes into the match, and it was a 15-minute match, not 30 minutes.
Yeah. Right. But I remember watching it and being like, Marty, let it go. But then when you see what happens, it's like, that would have fucked the whole match if he couldn't have found that.
Yeah. So I get it. I give him a little more leverage for that one, but still, like,
it wouldn't have been so bad if there wasn't so much stalling in the first 10 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
Because there were a lot of good sequences in this match and a lot of good moments, but it was just kind of like the parts were better than the whole because it was just simply too long. And
the last like 10 minutes of this match were great with the near falls and everything. Like I thought Marty was gonna win because he gets the umbrella, starts beating the shit out of everyone. The new ref comes out, near fall, locks the chicken wing in. Dalton gets the ropes, does the finger break, puts the chicken wing back, or like stomping his head, and then it crazy. Like, okay, they're gonna stop the match. Like, Marty's gonna win, and then bangerang out of nowhere, and Dalton wins. Like, holy crap! Like that finish was awesome. And it's just if they had gone like 10 miles per hour faster, and had done it like a 15-minute sprint, it would have been great.
Yeah, you take the exact same match and just cut the fat out, you have a great match.
Yeah.
Like, the good stuff was there. It just,
And that's the thing, like, with such a long pay-per-view and all those other matches you put on before it, you gave us the meat.
Yeah.
Like, let's get right to it. Like, we don't need all that other shit. It's midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah. It was.
And you just had an emotional and very long match right before that.
Exactly. So. We didn't need a long emotional match here. We just needed a quick one.
So that leads me to a question for you. Well, I mean, you guys can rate the matches, but
I give like 3.25.
I give this 3.25. It was good overall, but for a 30-minute title match main event, that's not a great score.
No,
really.
It's not.
Yeah.
So, how do you guys feel about Dalton's title run? Do you think he's getting over? Do you think he's elevated to main event level like everybody else?
I think he's lost steam with this match quite a bit, and he's going to have to get it back. I think when he faced Lethal, I think he was red hot, and I think he's lost some steam since then, and I think they're not quite at the point they need to turn him heel or anything, but the crowd is just not as into him as they were before. Lots of people were for Marty in this match. I'd say half the crowd was rooting for Marty, so I see him losing steam, and I think that he needs to have a really great next big title defense to get back on track.
I agree with that somewhat.
Okay.
I think Marty is just so popular because it's Bullet Club, and this was a very pro Bullet Club crowd. That you could have put Jay Lethal in this match, and people would have been cheering Marty over Jay Lethal. I think Dalton's doing great. I do think they if they had shortened this match up, they need to be putting him more having him controlling the matches, not being the babyface in peril. And I know that's kind of productive because he is the babyface and blah blah blah, but he should be controlling the tempo and the pace of matches more, and not just being the babyface in peril. Like, he needs to be the guy controlling the match and seeing that, hey, I am the top guy because here's why, and this is me doing it. That's what I think.
I agree with that, and I think that they got to do something more with his promos. They're very generic. We're gonna have this match, and this is where it is, and I'm a peacock. Like, get into like something that we can really get behind, because I think that he doesn't really have that connection with the crowd that he used to, it seems like. But I don't know. I don't know. Maybe just getting him the microphone more.
Yeah. I don't know.
What about having a feud like the feud he had with Silas Young, where you kind of took him out of that fun, I guess, comfort zone, and he had to have like a serious feud? I think pulling out that other side of him, giving him into a longer program like feud, would help him quite a bit. Because I think that the fans want to see him have an edge.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you can still do the funness, but give him an edge too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think he does a great job of showing that in his matches. Like when he gets like, especially in that Lethal match, like where he's having fun, but like the send on, like Lethal starts taking it to him, and he starts like, okay, fuck this, I'm throwing a haymaker in your face.
Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't take much to get that. Like, you just need someone who wants to ruin his fun. Someone comes out and rips one of his wings or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to do it with the boys and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah.
All right. Well, next up is NXT Takeover New Orleans.
Oh,
this
boy.
was a hell of a show.
Putting it lightly, yeah.
No joke, I watched this right before watching Mania. Like,
ooh, that's...
yeah, it was... So, Mania Sunday was a hell of a day for me, wrestling-wise. So, we started things out. They had a band open the show up, which was okay, whatever.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
Usually, bands at wrestling shows are usually pretty offensive, so...
Yeah.
This wasn't bad.
So, we started things off with the ladder match for the inaugural NXT North American Champion. It was Adam Cole, Bebe, Ricochet, the Velveteen Dream, Lars Sullivan, EC3, and Killian Dane. And hell of a stacked match. The belt looks fantastic, very old school territory style. I like that. So EC3's debut or re-debut, I guess. Ricochet's first match in the company.
Yeah, he looked fantastic in this match. He looked like a star.
Yes, he did. Mm-hmm. He looked like he belonged here, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Hits a awesome dive, like some shooting star press dive right at the beginning of the match, and almost overshoots it. So we're 3 for 3 on people overshooting dives in WrestleMania shows.
They're hyped up, man.
Yes.
Mania weekend. It's a big show.
Great ladder spots. I liked EC3 and Cole working together a little bit. And then EC3 does the EC3 Bebe spot. And Cole has that look of like, wait, what are you doing? And like starts beating him up. Mm-hmm. Cole super kicking everyone was great. Velveteen Dream with a crazy L drop symphony of like, including off the tippy top of a ladder.
That's the longest elbow drop I think I've ever seen.
That's amazing.
It was awesome.
And he didn't put his feet down.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
Killian Dane doing a Vader bomb with Cole on his back onto EC3 on a ladder.
That was brutal.
It was like the best part about that was Cole on the back of Killian Dane, flying up in the air like he's on a fucking Bronco, and then landing with a smack on Dane. Was awesome.
Dane keeps impressing. I thought he was one of the best parts of this match, if not my favorite.
Yeah.
He's my boy, though.
Him and Lars Sullivan doing the toss the Ricochet spot was great.
Yeah.
Just a nod to what you guys said earlier about Ricochet just being such a pro. There was a spot in here where Velveteen was trying to set up one of the ladders, and he kept fucking it up, and he got caught in the ropes. And I love that Ricochet just runs over there, hits him on the back, says, nah, fuck it, let's do that. Like, he was comfortable jumping in and being like, you know what, let's just move on.
Yep.
That
was great. Also did that with the making the ladder bridge, which him and Dream fought on. Dream does his rolling Death Valley driver on it, which looked great. Came really close to getting his leg stuck in one of the ladders, though. That could have fucked up his leg. Lars does the freak accident onto EC3 and Velveteen Dream through a ladder. And then Dane does the same to Cole and Ricochet through another ladder, which was insane.
I like the little story of Dane and Sullivan trying to one up each other
Yes,
in the
that
monster
is great.
category.
I love it.
Yeah.
Book those two in a feud.
They are.
Book them in a better feud.
Their singles match was a turd.
Yeah, but it was designed to just build the feud though. You know.
Yeah.
There's a cool spot where Lars Sullivan's near the finish. Lars is going up the ladder, and Ricochet jumps on his back, and the ladder breaks, which is very cool. Ends up with being Cole, dumps Ricochet out, and then wins the belt. So
I could not believe that this match was over 30 minutes because when you usually see a ladder match that goes really long, there's a lot of laying around in between huge spots. This had non-stop action for over 30 minutes.
Fantastic match.
Insane. This is one of the absolute best ladder matches I've ever seen, maybe top 2 or 3 that I've ever seen. I gave this 4 3/4, almost the full, but not quite.
So I went with that same rating.
Yeah, what an amazing
unbelievable match. One of the greatest wrestling openers of all time.
Yeah.
Easily.
This did get the Meltzer 5-star rating, which means that Ricochet is the first man to ever, in his debut match for WWE, get a 5-star match.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy.
You think about all these guys getting a 5-star match. Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, Velveteen Dream.
22 years old.
22 years old.
And they all
youngest person to ever be in a 5-star match.
Yeah, everyone played their part. Even Sullivan.
Sullivan took that massive powerbomb bump off the ladder.
That was great.
And, if Sullivan is the new Kane for ladder matches, I'm okay with that because he bumps a fuckload better. So
absolutely. Yeah. Next up, we had the women's NXT Championship match. Actually, Luke, what did you rate that ladder match?
Oh, I'm not doing ratings.
You
but it was
no
fantastic.
ratings, Luke. Okay. We had the championship, Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler. Ember gets a live singer. I think it was Alice Cooper's guitarist as well, wasn't it? Was it?
No, that was.
Okay, was it just for?
Okay,
I couldn't remember. Like I thought, someone said it was the same person. I couldn't remember. I don't think so. Okay.
So it could be
I think it was the band that plays her song.
Okay, I wasn't sure, so I wasn't 100% on that. Ember does a great job of coming out really fast out the gate and taking the fight to Baszler. Baszler looked to do more of striking in this one instead of just relying on her submissions, because the submissions what got her pinned last time. Smart. Baszler goes for the choke early, and Ember gets her on her back and drops her, which is cool. And then we get the greatest spot of this entire match, which was Baszler goes to do her arm stomp thing, misses Ember. Ember gets in position where she can do the stomp to Baszler, and Baszler looks up at the hard camera with an oh shit face, and Ember stomps her arm Baszler's been doing to everyone else. Fucking amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
I loved it.
And then she sells it.
Sells it great. Does the ramming her arm into the turnbuckle spot to pop the shoulder back into place, a la Riggs from Lethal Weapon 1. So that was awesome. I fucking lost it at that point. Ember hits an Eclipse on the outside. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And Baszler goes for the choke again, and Moon just keeps attacking her arm, so she can't do it. So Baszler tries a triangle, and Ember power bombs her. Goes for the Eclipse one more time. Baszler catches her in the choke. Can't use her one arm, so she takes one of her arms, grabs her hair to lock the choke in. And Ember fights and fights, finally passes out. Fucking incredible.
Yeah, insane.
12 minutes, and it was fantastic. That fucking arm selling and submission finish was a highlight for me. I lost my shit watching this.
This had a great story, and it played so well off their previous match. They would reverse things that they went for in the first match. This is exactly what you want a rematch to be, not just more of the same. I like that Ember came out with a different strategy, and she felt more it wasn't just her trying to escape. This time she was more confident, more on the attack. So many amazing reversals, so many just cool little moments. Shayna came off looking like an absolute badass, and an intelligent badass at that. I thought this was much better than their first match, and I would like to see a third one.
Well, you're not going to see it because we'll get to...
That was the deal.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Eventually. I give this 4. Loved it.
I give it 3 3/4, but very close to 4.
I thought this was amazing. 2 thumbs up. Go see it. But also, I want to mention that Shayna Baszler, ever since the women's
Mae Young
Classic, I've had my eye on her. I think she's amazing. But after this match, I might go out on a limb and say that she has potential to be one of, if not the greatest women's wrestlers.
There's
in
a
the world.
very big possibility that I would give
Will she get completely overshadowed by Ronda Rousey coming?
That's the question, because
Yes.
I don't want to get too
Yeah.
far into it, but I was impressed by her too.
Yeah.
But I think Baszler reminds me so much of Sarah Del Rey that it's uncanny.
Yeah, I definitely see some Sarah Del Rey in her.
Hmm.
Next up, we had a triple threat tag team match in the finals of the Dusty Rhodes Classic for the NXT Tag Team titles. That is a very long title match. The name, the Undisputed Era, which was supposed to be Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, but Bobby Fish is out with a knee injury for 6 months or 9 months. Really sucks. So it was Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole taking on the team of Roderick Strong, Pete Dunne, and the Authors of Pain. Cole, then I saw coming out with his ribs taped up. He's got his belt, so he's milking that, but he's beat up. AOP immediately take out everyone and put Cole through a table, and Cole's done for the entire match. Love that, because I like that Cole was like a non-factor this entire match, because you're selling the fact that he went through a grueling ladder match. And it's like, yeah, he's not going to be able to wrestle another match at all. So that was great. Kyle O'Reilly had a great spot where he had a triangle submission in one of the guys, and then like ankle lock in one of the Authors of Pain. That was great. And then Pete Dunne gets powerbombed by one of the other Authors of Pain on top of Kyle O'Reilly. That was awesome. AOP just dominated as always. Pete Dunne starts running wild. Eventually, at one point, hits the bitter end on Kyle, and Roderick Strong breaks it up and hits the end of Heartache on Pete Dunne, throws Kyle on top of Pete Dunne, and the Undisputed Era win the Dusty Rhodes Finals and retain the titles, and Roderick Strong joins the Undisputed Era.
Love it.
Yeah, I
love
enjoyed the hell of it, and I love the crowd. Like when it happens, there's that like, oh my god moment.
Yeah,
it's captured perfectly, and Roddy's face when he did it with the smile, it was perfectly done.
I love the aftermath the most though, where Cole is like kind of staring at what the hell are you doing, and Roderick takes the armband off and puts it on himself, reminiscing of when Cole offered his armband to Roddy to join in the first place, and Roddy refused. Like, that is great storytelling. So, and to replace Bobby Fish while he's hurt, you couldn't ask for a better replacement.
No, definitely not.
So, big thumbs up for that. The match itself was great. Like, it kept moving. It was nice. It was kind of the dead spot of the night, but they made it enough of a good, fast-paced action match, and then like a great storyline finish that I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. This would be AOP's final match in NXT, correct?
It would. Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but good on the great run for the AOP. Started out as a pretty underwhelming tag team, but grew into one of my favorite tag teams in NXT.
Yeah, but that's cool. I mean, it'll open up the doors for some more of these young guys.
Yep.
There's some fun teams there, and maybe Heavy Machinery will be the next.
But the big rumor right now that they're going to be building toward is the Undisputed Era taking on British Strong Style, which is Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, and Trent Seven.
That'd be amazing.
That would be amazing.
Which they might do in the UK, which would be awesome.
I would shit my pants out of...
Well, you don't have to do that. You just sit back and watch it. We then had the NXT Championship match. Andrade Cien Almas taking on
Boy, who is now a man.
Yes, he is a
manly man.
Taking on Aleister Black. Almost came out in the Lucha mask again, which I really love.
That's fun, yeah. It's a good entrance.
Black just starts off with a House of Fire, just taking it to him. Vega interferes, hurricaning Black into the steps, so Almas is able to take over. Works over the arm of Black to set up for the Hammerlock DDT. I really liked that Black was using his strikes all match to get the advantage, while Almas looked to almost ground and wrestle him.
Yeah.
which I really liked, and that Vega just kept interfering all match. Just like, I think it was like 3 or 4 times in the match she interfered. To like,
and that didn't bother me. Usually that drives me insane. But this
I enjoyed it because Vega just knows the perfect time to like insert stuff. Like as soon as her guy started getting a little bit of a disadvantage, she interfered, and it played to the finish, which we'll get into in a minute.
But I loved how Black was. You could see a subtle frustration, like this fucking woman is driving me crazy.
Yep,
I loved it.
Had a nice payoff to it. But one spot I wanted to make mention of was Almas doing the drop kick on Black into the ring post, the callback to the Johnny Gargano.
Yep, does
finish,
the knees, yep.
Which I thought was really nice. Because you thought maybe they were going for Black ultimately falling the same way, but he did not.
I also love when Aleister Black went for the Black Mass at one point. Like the referee was kind of in the way, almost moves the ref out of the way and drop kicks Black in the back of the head.
Oh yeah,
which was brutal looking, and it was that was awesome. So the finish is Vega dives at Aleister Black. Black ducks, almost catches Vega, and then with his hands full, Aleister Black hits the Black Mass and 1, 2, 3.
That was awesome finish.
I loved it because the heel manager interferes all match and finally does it one too many times, and that's what costs her guy the championship. Fucking beautiful.
That was great.
Awesome
Were you
story.
guys expecting Black to win here?
Not at all.
I thought they were gonna try to postpone it for another time, but at the same time, I'm glad they didn't because with Aleister Black, it makes sense that he would just be that good and be able to beat Almas.
Yeah, I thought they were going to have him get screwed somehow with Vega at the end and just kind of build up all the frustration and have a blow-off later on. But I think now was the right time. He is absolutely red hot, and sometimes you just got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
We see it too often that you wait too long, and then people aren't as enthusiastically behind the person. So.
And I think NXT's been doing that a lot more. It's just like striking while the iron's hot. I love what they did with Almas when they gave him the belt, and it
was weird too because it was almost like. With Almas, it wasn't even the iron was hot. It's just like, okay, we're just gonna make this guy the guy because we know
it was heating. The pan was heating up, and then that NXT title had it, and it's like all of a sudden it's red hot.
And they must know that just by training with these guys a few times, like these guys. It doesn't matter. We're just giving them the belt because they'll get over. Like we know they can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave this 4 1/4. I loved it.
Same. Really great match.
Yeah. Then we had the main event, and what a main event it was. An unsanctioned match between Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa. Former friends now become bitter rivals. Where have we seen this before?
Never in wrestling.
Never in wrestling. Fantastic bit of storytelling where they actually have cameras showing them signing the no harm release, which I love.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Great video package for these guys. Amazing. We were actually live for when they broke up, and I can attest that the heat for Ciampa when he broke up DIY was insane.
Oh, nuclear.
And so taking that after 9 months of build up, almost a year now, isn't it? A build
and a lot of heel heat now is kind of the crowd just playing along.
This was legitimate heat, I think.
This was they hated Ciampa on that night for breaking this team up.
I love Ciampa coming out to no music, just letting the fans boo the shit out of him.
Yep.
We get a fuck you.
Ziggler wishes he.
Yes, no shit. We get a fuck you Ciampa chant. We get an asshole chant. Just chant after chant after chant. Gargano comes out and big huge pop for him. And then so they start out. We get the classic hockey fight. Just both guys just teeing off on each other. Great stuff. They spill out to the outside. They were outside a lot in this match.
Didn't bother me.
It worked with this gimmick, I think. So it didn't bother me too much. Gargano throws Ciampa over the announce table, and Mauro dives out of the way, and we get a Mamma Mia chant from the crowd, which is great.
There is an amazing video, by the way, on Instagram of Mauro marking out all night.
It's on the WWE's YouTube channel.
Amazing.
Like a face cam of Mauro marking out all night. Check it out. That guy legitimately loves his job.
Yeah, and he was getting Percy that wound up.
Yeah,
it was great.
It's great. Gargano and Ciampa fight on top of the table. Did you see Gargano give Ciampa a thong at this point?
Oh my
Just
God, he split the uprights, man.
just full on
Holy
wedge.
cow.
Oh my god. Ciampa suplexes Gargano off the table to the floor. That was awesome. They use the table cover, and Gargano got backdropped on it. I'm like, yes, use that more often.
But it doesn't break. So
It doesn't, but it looks.
funny.
I love that spot. I love when they use those table covers.
Will that make Botchamania because it didn't break?
I guess I am the table cover.
I don't know.
I
We'll
don't
see.
They fight in the ring. Cloverleaf on Gargano. Gargano gets the ropes, but there's no rope break. Thank fucking God. I hate when in a no DQ match when there's rope breaks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That doesn't bother me as much.
I hate it. I really hate it. Ciampa is just a fantastic heel though. All match, like just milking. I think I can't remember which one it was, but at some point, like he does something and like he just starts clapping like yeah.
Was it that when he was sitting on the apron?
Yes.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Steals the crutches from a fan in the crowd. Obviously a plant, but it was fantastic. They had the floor mats ripped up at one point, and they teased it forever that they're going to do something, and then they finally do a powerbomb on the bare floor.
That was nasty.
Very safe powerbomb, though.
Too. It was safe, but it was a full-on powerbomb.
It was a full-on powerbomb, but yeah,
Split. I mean,
it was...
I'm sure it's safe, but
Yeah.
it's never going to be a nice bump to take.
No, I'm sure it sucked. But a great "You deserve it" chant for Ciampa after
Yeah.
that was awesome. Started using the crutches a lot. Diving spear into the knee by Ciampa.
Oh yeah,
That was
great.
Yep. Ciampa using the old DIY finishing mover, the meat in the middle, was great. Like with the pose and everything, it was great. And I love that. Like eventually, Gargano did the same thing and got cheered for it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was great.
That was awesome. Really badly botched reverse Rana. Can we just stop doing reverse Ranas in wrestling?
Yeah, there's no reason for it.
No reason.
And but the crowd popped.
Everyone does it too, so it's not special
Yeah.
anymore.
No. But it was funny, like the crowd was so into this match, like when he hit it, they were like,
Yeah, they didn't care. Gargano locks in the Gargano escape. Ciampa goes for the ropes. He gets the ropes. Gargano kicks the hands and rolls back in the middle of the ring. It was great. And then Ciampa goes for the eyes. Like, what a dirty heel. Like, just fantastic heel work. They eventually just... another great spot. Ciampa uses the wrist tape and starts choking Gargano. Gargano grabs the wrist tape and like they're linked together, very poetic, and just start teeing off on with rights and lefts. Great stuff. Low blow by Ciampa, crotch shot, Project Ciampa, big kick out. Oh my god. Lawn dart into an exposed turnbuckle was
terrifying. I would not want to
terrifying spot.
Lawn dart is scary enough.
Yeah. And also the camera angle when they exposed the buckle was fantastic.
Oh, that was great.
Great. Gargano then used the DIY move for a big kick out. Project Ciampa off the top, and I think Ciampa maybe legitimately hurt his knee. I don't know. Takes off the knee brace and the knee pad to do like a bare bone knee on Gargano, but Gargano uses the brace to block the knee, so Ciampa hurts his knee, and then we get the greatest finish in years in wrestling.
One of my favorites I've ever seen.
Gargano goes to like basically stab Ciampa with the crutch. And stops because like Ciampa's just looking like begging him to not do it. Puppy dog eyes, like one eye swollen shut, basically.
That was amazing. It was like actively swelling shut.
It was great visual. And like he's like sitting there like they did at the Cruiserweight Classic finals or the Cruiserweight Classic match. So Gargano goes to sit next to his friend, and Ciampa grabs the knee brace, takes a swing at Gargano. Gargano ducks it, locks in the Gargano escape. Decides, no, fuck that. I'm going to do the STF on the hurt knee and then use your knee brace to choke you out. And Gargano and Ciampa taps out.
Unbelievable.
One of the greatest finishes I've ever seen in professional wrestling.
And one of the things that I liked about it was maybe it was more clear to you guys and you have a more clear answer than I do, but I didn't think it was completely, I thought it was a little ambiguous as to if Gargano really trusted Ciampa at that time, or if it was kind of like he was trying to lure him into the finish to do something.
I think I think it was almost like maybe for like a split second, like Gargano thought maybe Ciampa felt remorse. But then, like, when he saw him take that swing, he's like, nope, I'm not falling for that, you know.
Right.
Maybe.
But I thought it was kind of up to your interpretation, which you don't see very often in wrestling.
Yeah.
You see it in other art forms, but it was a very artistically satisfying finish.
Yes.
In many ways.
5 stars, my match of the year right now this year.
An amazing.
Fantastic.
Agreed 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, the match of the weekend by far.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Not to spoil what's coming next, but fantastic throughout. And the crowd never gave up an inch in this match.
Yeah.
They hated Ciampa the whole time, and it just built and built and built.
And they got every subtlety. They got when he was using the DIY moves. They understood when Ciampa was going, when like Gargano almost went to hit him, and he stopped. They're like, oh, like no, like don't believe him, you know. And they believed the entire story, and they believed that Ciampa was a despicable bastard who deserved to get the shit kicked out of him.
It showed it's still possible to have a true face versus true heel match and actually get that kind of heat, which for a long time we haven't seen very much of. But it can still happen. You just have to, you have to earn it.
Right.
Yeah. Great match. Fantastic. What a way to end NXT.
What an amazing show.
Yes. One of the best wrestling shows ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And proof that you can have 5 matches on a card and put together a spectacular show because every match was different and had a different story and a different element to it that makes wrestling great.
On the show.
And how long was this show? 2.5 hours?
2.5 hours.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
You can go 3 if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't need to go any longer than that.
Yeah. Well, following that show, we had WrestleMania 34, the showcase of the Immortals and all the other names that Vince comes up with and then doesn't like anymore for some reason.
The granddaddy of them all.
Yeah. No, that granddaddy's too old, you know.
Oh, that's right, the daddy of them all.
Yeah. So did either of you watch the 2-hour pre-show?
I didn't.
No.
Okay, so I will cover the gist of it. I'll try to just fast forward. I'm not going to go beat by beat. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal was the first thing up. No entrances at all. No one got an entrance. They're just all in the ring. Way too many people in the ring because you can't tell what the fuck was going on. Nothing really interesting happened. The best parts were Goldust did a dab after eliminating R-Truth. Zack Ryder got pounced out by Mojo. Goldust at one point yells at Titus O'Neil to hit him. So, nice call in the spots there. We saw a Shattered Dreams. Matt Hardy and Ty Dillinger did a 10 delete spot. Mojo and Corbin were left with Matt Hardy. They go to eliminate Matt Hardy. Bray Wyatt is here. He helps helps Hardy eliminate Mojo and Corbin. Hardy wins. Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy are together. Then they hug. So, nothing to report from that match. Cruiserweight Championship Finals tournament match. Mustafa Ali came out like some glacier-looking gear. It's kind of cool. They did a lot of moves. It looked pretty nice. They cut to something else during the match, like a video package. Or no, it was like a Ronda package, like split screen during the match. Fucking dumb.
It's like you have 7 hours, you can't fit that match in.
Yeah. Cedric wins with a lumbar check to become the champion, and they cut to something else right away. So no chance for him to celebrate and soak it in.
He's
done. First black athlete to win a singles championship at Mania.
The pre-show counts.
Wow.
The pre-show counts.
That's Sunday Night Heat.
Yep. Women's Battle Royal, not the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal, just the Women's Battle Royal. They didn't
come up with anything
else.
Nope.
I like Jericho's idea, which was Jericho pitched this idea to Vince was to call it the Sensational Invitational.
I like that.
I love it.
That is good.
So, Becky Lynch gets an entrance, and then the rest just come out, and then Bayley and Sasha enter. So that was really weird.
Here are the stars.
Yeah, exactly. Well, funny enough, none of those 3 won.
Yeah.
Everyone beats up Carmella and throw her out, and then Dana Brooke gets beat up and everyone gets thrown her out. The NXT girls started NXT chant after taking out a bunch of girls. That was kind of cool. Becky Lynch to the one girl trained by Kali that orange is my color. So she's just fighting her, which the commentators mentioned that the girl was from India and was trained by the great Kali. Not something that I would brag about.
Yeah, what? How could you be trained by the great Kali?
Bianca Belair hit a really nice 450. Kairi Sane does the elbow, but they miss it due to commercials. They had to recap it and show it. Bianca Belair uses her hair, which is awesome. Riot Squad are controlling the ring most of the time. Sasha and Bayley start working together, get everyone out. It comes down to Sasha and Bayley. The crowd wakes up, and yay, we're excited. And then Sasha goes for a handshake, and Bayley immediately dumps her out. And it looks like, oh, she won, but no, wait, no, Naomi's still in, and she throws Bayley out. So Naomi won.
All right.
Yeah.
And no one cared.
No one cared. It was just a match. It was actually better than the Andre Battle Royal. It was actually reasonably enjoyable. So.
Made people sit through 2 Battle Royals, though, before the show even started.
Yeah, that's brutal. So then we get to the real show. We just kicked off the show with the Intercontinental title being defended in a triple threat match. The Miz versus Seth Rollins and Finn Balor.
This could be the Deserves Better invitational, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah. Seth Rollins comes out looking like the Night King from Game of Thrones. That was badass. I really like that.
Finn Balor comes out looking like his normal self.
With a bunch of people from the LGBT community. Did you ever hear that, like, apparently they tried to pitch that they wanted him to be a gay wrestler?
I've heard that.
I have heard that, yes.
Yeah.
But it's like, which I'm like, that's fine, but it's like, he's not gay, so why would he be a gay wrestler?
Yeah, what's the payoff?
Yeah.
Remember how well that worked last time you do that?
Yeah. So it's just like, it's a cool idea, but it's like, why not just find someone who's actually gay?
But now it looks like they're just kind of making him, like, an ambassador.
Yeah.
He's not actually gay, but he's an ambassador for the community, which is whatever, but you gotta stop smiling so much, bro.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
Miz sends the Miz Taraj to the back, so he's going it alone. So he's
face. That's a face.
Yeah, very face. Miz is like reinventing himself for his daughter. So it's like, okay, so he's turning face. Like, that's a very face move. Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
A lot of good action. Like they did the revolving door a lot, but it's still good.
It was a quick revolving door, at least.
Yes, very quick revolving door. Miz is going after both guys' knees, uses the figure 4 on Balor. Rollins breaks up with a frog splash. Great camera shot of that. Like where it just comes out of nowhere. Rollins tries to buckle bomb both Miz and Balor into the barricade. You know, reminiscent of SummerSlam. That was cool. Skullcrush finale, kick out. Skullcrush finale off the top, and then Vin breaks up with a double stomp.
I think the announcers called that wrong too.
Yeah,
it's like, face buster.
Yeah, no, it was really
bulldog.
It was like Skullcrush finale.
Yeah.
Goes for another stomp, misses, or I don't remember the curb stomp to Miz, and then curb stomp to Rollins or Balor. Rollins wins. So
good stuff.
Yeah. And now all 3 members of the Shield have been Grand Slam champions.
Oh wow.
Oh dang.
That's pretty crazy. Yeah.
Cool.
So good match.
This was a really, really good opener. Quick paced. It was like 15 minutes, which is a little maybe long. I don't know, but yeah, it had constant action. Everyone looked good. I was actually impressed with Miz quite a bit in this match.
He's been doing great.
Yeah, he's been doing pretty good. Yeah, I thought this was like a really great way to open the show.
Yep. My only issue was that I wish there was more of a story.
That's true, but I think it's okay because it's the opener and it's just. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're in for a long night, so.
Right. This would be not the worst match that didn't have not a story to it. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you rate this, Alex? Did you rate this one?
No, but I probably give it like 3.5.
Yeah, same.
We forgot to mention, like, during the pre-show and, like, the opening match, John Cena is in the crowd, just hanging out because he doesn't have an opponent for WrestleMania, which
this is the weirdest storyline to have.
I actually really liked it because, like, at least you're selling the idea that this is, like, a real thing. Like, yeah, Cena really doesn't have an opponent, so he's just going to hang out in the crowd.
You're telling me John fucking Cena
bought
a ticket, and is sitting next to some random person,
some pregnant
WrestleMania,
some pregnant girl who looked like she wanted nothing to do with John Cena.
It's like, dude, you couldn't have gone backstage and stood next to a TV and looked at your left shoulder,
one of the sweet boxers or something like that.
Jesus, man.
But yeah, that.
I wonder if he went the whole show and like nobody like the Undertaker just didn't come out and he just went back to his seat and he just was seated the rest of the show.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah.
Like it was a rib on John the whole time. Like Taker really wasn't coming out.
And I love that he couldn't show up in jorts.
Yeah.
he had to change into his fighting George.
But there was a couple of really funny like memes of Cena online and like videos. Like there's one like where he ran to a fan dressed like Taker and he's like, "Take a look, I found him. I found him at WrestleMania." It's like he's saying something about like people taking naps in peace, whatever. So we're gonna fight now. It's just like he cuts the. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was really funny. It was a great idea for to sell the gimmick.
Yeah.
Then we had the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Very surprised this was going on so early.
Yeah.
Considering this would end up being the best match of the night for me.
It was among them for me.
We had Charlotte Flair defending against Asuka. Charlotte gets a great entrance with like Ric Flair's music playing and the gladiators and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Her attire looked awesome.
She looked amazing.
Fantastic intro.
The gold made her look like it made her look longer and leaner.
Yeah,
like, it was great.
Yep.
She looked like a champion.
She looked like a champion. She looked like she belonged. Great stuff. Asuka gets a pretty cool entrance, but she just like her entrance alone is Mania worthy.
Right.
So great stuff. Back and forth match early on. Asuka hits Flair into the barricade and hurts her arm. So Asuka goes after the arm the rest of the match, setting up for the Asuka lock. Really like that. And I loved Asuka mocking her for after she hurt her arm.
That was great.
That was great. Charlotte at one point goes to the top, does a moonsault into a triangle, which was insane.
That was insane.
Yes. And then reverses it into like a Walls of Jericho type move or whatever, like a Boston Crab. Suplex off the apron. That looked terrible.
Oh.
Spanish Fly by Charlotte off the top.
But I believe Asuka was on the second rope, so
yes.
It looked really scary.
It looked great. Goes for natural selection, but gets countered into a submission by Asuka. That was awesome. I like the base of the story was Asuka had Charlotte's moves scouted, and it was able to counter it, and so like Charlotte had to kind of like go outside of her normal means to one up Asuka. Locks in the figure eight at one point, and with one arm does the bridge, selling the arm, love it, and Asuka taps out. In a truly holy shit moment of like, I did not see that coming.
Yeah, did not expect
Everyone thought Asuka was going to win.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think about beating Asuka here?
It's one thing where it's kind of a shame to like blow the streak now and not build up for a little bit more, but at the same time, like Asuka losing her streak without being the champion is big enough. Like imagine like if she was champion and like someone not only wins the title but wins the streak would just be like almost like too much. So having her lose in a title match and not win the title still had it has just bigger impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, I was shocked and a little disappointed. Like I'm okay with it because I love Charlotte, but to me it says that they're moving away from the idea of like a Ronda Rousey Asuka match, and Charlotte's their girl. And that's fine, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this goes for Asuka, because if she's not going to be held at that level, will they maintain her as like this huge top level star? Because now it looks like the focus is going to be on Ronda and Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might shake some stuff up. They might send some people, on another brand or whatever.
Yeah.
Send some people to Raw.
Apparently, Vince lost faith in Asuka to be the top girl, which is like, you haven't had her on the main roster for, 9 months, and you're already like losing faith in her. Like, what the fuck did she do?
This was her first actual like chance in a spotlight type situation.
Once again, showing that Vince is fucking stupid
and steals the show.
Yeah, steals the show. Which nothing take nothing away from Charlotte. I mean, Charlotte really did a great job, and she's fantastic. But
right, they both stole this show.
Yeah,
I should
say.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only okay with it if it's part of a bigger story where Asuka doesn't have the streak anymore, and now she like kind of has to rebuild herself after like the streak is over. But I feel like they're probably just gonna end up burying her.
I hope not.
Because they don't tend to stick with those long term stories like that very well.
Send her back to NXT.
Just do something with her that's not
absolutely
burying her.
But what would you rather see? Asuka versus Ronda at Mania, or would you rather see Charlotte versus Ronda at Mania? Which would be a bigger selling match.
I honestly think Charlotte versus Ronda might be a bigger.
I think
promo.
Charlotte would be as well.
Yeah.
Bigger selling.
The Flair name, it does carry
Flair
a lot.
name, yeah.
The promo packages will be.
Yeah, and
big
plus,
thing.
like Ronda needs someone to help her with a promo, and Charlotte can cut a good promo.
Yeah.
Asuka can't really speak English well.
Right.
So, but after this match, referee runs out and tells John Cena something, and so Cena jumps the barricade and runs backstage, where's security,
Where he should have been in the first place.
Yeah, and it was just like, why'd you do that during this, like, the celebration of this great women's match? Like, why not after? United States Championship match: Randy Orton, Bobby Roode, Rusev, and Jinder Mahal.
So we have nothing better for you match.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Jinder's entrance. He looked like a bellboy.
Yeah.
I had written here, Bellboy Mahal. Yeah, not a great entrance from anyone, just very average, and this match was very average. RKOs for everyone. A lot of action, but nothing special.
Kept it mercifully short.
Yep. Rusev goes for the submission, but Mahal hits his finisher to win. So the most over guy in the match, which was Rusev, because it was Rusev Day, gets pinned by fucking Jinder Mahal.
Clean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking dumb. Who booked this match?
I don't know.
It could. Who knows? With Rusev, there's a lot of things up in the air.
Oh, God, just really dumb. Okay.
Jinder, I feel like the reason they put the title on Jinder is that they don't want to admit that the title reign they gave him previously was completely meaningless and completely stupid. So I think they're trying to keep him relevant as, like, see, he's worth something. But
what did I said this a year ago when he won the belts? Like, if you had given him the U.S. title, it would have been fine. Like, the whole gimmick would have worked. His anti-U.S. gimmick would have worked as the U.S. champion. And you wouldn't have had to stick the fucking main belt on him.
Yeah.
Plus, what's weird to me is, like, they're feeding him to Orton again. Like, that didn't work last year. Yeah. Why is that going to work now? Unless they think, like,
Orton has never worked.
Maybe they think that the two of them have this amazing chemistry or something, but I don't see it.
No.
Yeah. But then we get another match of the night. Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle taking on Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. What's more crazy? The fact that Ronda Rousey is wrestling at WrestleMania, or that Kurt Angle is wrestling at WrestleMania again?
Rousey, probably.
Honestly, Angle wrestling at Mania is something I never thought I would see. Rousey's also something I thought it would happen, but I didn't think it would happen as effectively as it happened.
Yeah.
So,
right.
This was a surprising match all around.
Yeah.
Really.
Triple H and
Stephanie actually did pretty well.
Yeah, she did. Stephanie and Triple H come on in with their bike gang.
Yeah, the tricycles.
Yep, they're just a little bike curious. Ronda comes out with a Piper tribute, which was very cool. She still smiles a lot. Need to work on that.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard with her entrance music. Is very upbeat sounding.
Yeah.
But I don't think it quite suits her.
But she needs. I want to see the Ronda that like has like the "I'm gonna murder you" face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't mind if she comes out, she smiles at the crowd, scans the crowd, and as soon as she sees the ring, boom.
Yeah.
It's time. It's game time. Like, I love the fans, but I'm gonna murder whoever's in front of me. But
that's fair.
Yeah.
But so Triple H and Kurt Angle start off. Great to see these two guys working together in the ring again. That's really cool. They did a great job of milking the hot tag forever. Like Stephanie going over and tripping Ronda off the apron, and just great heel stuff by Stephanie. Stephanie really did well in this match and playing her part. Massive pop when Ronda gets tagged in. Ronda takes Stephanie down immediately, goes for the armbar, and in the year of 2018, folks, Stephanie McMahon is able to block an armbar from Ronda frickin' Rousey.
I couldn't believe it.
They did it a couple times too.
Yes, and it's like I know it's wrestling and whatever, but I appreciate it more that she was able to block it and not be in the armbar and not immediately tap out. So I'll take that she's able to block by holding her arms together. I'll take that over her in an armbar not immediately tapping out.
Right, but just to think that Ronda had your arm and you were on your back. It's over.
Yeah.
Like, your arm is broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was one of those things you can look past it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those spots that now everybody's going to have to be able to do the same thing.
Right. Well, no,
Yeah.
Stephanie's just so much
Yeah,
superior.
she's amazing.
Yeah. Stephanie and Ronda have a good back and forth. At one point, the referee gets pulled out by Triple H, and the referee was Drake, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Drake, baby. Drake is going to the main roster. And so like Ronda gets in Triple H's face and says, "I'm gonna go keep beating up your wife." Fucking awesome. And then Ronda and Triple H go at it.
Yeah.
And Ronda beat the shit out of Triple
That's
H.
She had him in the corner, and she was just wailing on him. The crowd just
and like
it was so good.
dropping Triple H on his ass and going for an armbar on Triple H was great.
I wanted so bad for Triple H to tap out.
That would have been amazing. That would have put Ronda
Yeah.
over the moon.
Yeah, and he's the best at like faking a tap out.
Yeah.
You know? Like that WrestleMania 20 where his fingers are just like.
Oh,
man.
Yeah. Good on Triple H for that spot. Like he gets a lot of respect from me for that one.
He's been bumping like a boss for her.
Yeah, he's great. I love it. Angle and Triple H have a great back and forth. We get a dual submission spot with Angle with the ankle lock and Ronda going for the armbar. They did a great job in this match. I feel of like making us think that, oh my God, they're actually going to have Ronda lose by having Triple H pin Kurt Angle or something like that.
Oh, right.
I thought, I bet a couple times, like, oh my God, they're going to have these, I can't believe they're going to have Triple H win. But
he kicked out an Angle slam, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yes.
But the finish is great. Stephanie is getting like the armbar position again, begs Ronda to not do it, and Ronda's just like, no, I'm doing it, and like puts the armbar, and Stephanie immediately taps out. Fucking great.
Awesome. That was awesome.
It was fantastic. This was one of the best debut matches I've ever seen by a wrestler. Ronda is fantastic.
This was my match of the night, actually. I just thought it was really entertaining, and I thought it was like, this is what only WWE is capable of, and when they do what they do well, this is like the capability of it. Just, that level of entertainment, that level of spectacle, and this was a very WrestleMania match.
Yes.
And I was like, I want to see more stuff like this. But yeah.
Yeah, this is great.
Let's give Drake a lot of credit for. They must have a lot of faith in him to put him in this match.
I'm sure Triple H loves the guy.
I'm sure Triple H. Yeah. I was hoping on hope that like.
Guiding.
Where was the ref bump though?
Where has been any of his ref bumps?
Yeah, no kidding, man.
Playing it safe.
Yep. I give this 4 stars. Loved it.
Me too.
Yeah,
Match of the night for me.
Amazing match, and I loved when Ronda first got that hot tag and she hits that clothesline and does the roll. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, she's ready.
She's
like,
in.
Here we go.
Yep, I'm sold.
So.
She has such a great presence about her too.
Yeah.
And the way that she was interacting and stuff, like she didn't clam up. That's one thing I was worried about, But she was like arguing with the McMahons and just.
It was great.
Yeah,
she
comfortable.
She fit in very well.
And one thing I always look for is like a lot of people when they're very new to wrestling will kind of look around waiting to see like what do we do next, or if they mess up like they're kind of like, oh, what do we do next? But she was constantly like moving from one thing to the next. Yeah, I was very impressed with Ronda.
We got to talk about Kurt Angle though. Like how many more matches does this guy have in him?
He's got to have the Daniel Bryan match in him.
He has. I say he has exactly 2 matches left.
Because if you look at his arms,
yeah,
his arms are atrophying bad. Like he
can barely move either. They did a good job in this match of covering for him by him just hitting his signature moves and stuff. But I think that's kind of all he can do anymore.
He's not the Kurt Angle of old.
And his neck is bigger than his legs.
His neck is ridiculous.
He's definitely not in. His neck has gotten bad, real bad.
Yeah.
Next up, we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. The Usos versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers. Big shout out to Xavier Woods for doing the Dragon Zord summoning from Power Rangers to summon the midgets in pancake costumes.
Little people.
No, they call them, like in wrestling, they're midgets. That's what they call themselves in wrestling.
They were little pancakes.
The short stacks.
Yeah, short stacks.
Yeah, short stacks.
So yeah, Bludgeon Brothers come out and just start taking out everyone, destroying everyone. Very much a squash match, basically. I think it was like only 7 minutes, if that.
It was less than that, yeah.
This is when the crowd
kind
of
5
tuned
something.
out.
Yeah, crowd couldn't care less about this match, which I can't blame them because they just saw a WrestleMania classic. Bludgeon Brothers just like dominate and win in a very one-sided match. pretty disappointed that we didn't get to see like the New Day and the Usos really deliver on Mania, but you know, you got to put over the Bludgeon Brothers nicely, so I'll give them that.
I also don't think there's just enough time. A lot of these matches had to be cut short just because there's too many damn matches on this show. Yeah. So.
All right. Then next up we had John Cena coming out for something, but they announced it like the announcers and they're like the following contest is scheduled for one fall. And it's like if it's not an official match, why are you announcing that it's in a match? Like that little things that really piss me off like that. So he's out there, the lights go out, and out comes Elias to great heat.
Well, didn't they came out and tell Cena like,
he's not here. He's not. Yeah, that's right. The referee comes out.
Who was this fucking jabroni who just came out and told him that he was there?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So he get his info.
Yeah. So Elias is out there, plays a little bit. Cena takes him out. Cena goes to leave. Lights go out. The spotlight comes out, and Taker's hat and coat are in the ring as he left him at WrestleMania last year. The big lightning strike, and the clothes are gone.
Dong.
And out comes Taker. And you can see it 1,000 times, Taker coming out, but it's still just so amazing watching that man come out to the ring. It's awesome. Yeah. It never gets old.
It took him longer than ever to get to the ring this time.
Yeah, he was milking that.
It's easier to watch though when you haven't seen it every Thursday night.
That's true.
You know? Exactly, yeah.
Taker just goes right after Cena right away, does all his signature spots. Cena goes for the you can't see me. Taker does the sip spot, and Cena just like screeches to a halt. Have you seen all the memes that come out of that GIF?
Not yet.
Oh, they're amazing. If you get a chance to look them up. Taker tombstones Cena and beats him in less than 3 minutes.
After the biggest chokeslam I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, he gave a wedge and a half to John.
Yeah, really.
So there's a couple of things that I thought about this. Well, number one, it was fantastic. This was exactly what Taker needed after the shit show last year from that like didn't go over well. But I think it could be either Cena, called out Taker but didn't expect Taker to actually show up and was just taken aback by the presence of Taker. And so maybe they're setting up for a rematch. Or maybe it's just they wanted to give Taker a big dominant win after last year and that's it.
Yeah, it could be a number of things. For me, the symbolism of the destroying of the hat and gloves in the ring and him coming out is he's back and somehow stronger now.
Yeah.
The whole thing, he dies and just keeps coming back stronger, has been a theme throughout his career. Also, the element of surprise with Cena. It works either way, I think. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed this. Some people didn't like it because it didn't really deliver a true... Oh, sorry. 1 second. Didn't deliver a true, great match like they always thought these two would have. But given Taker's limits anymore and, I think under the circumstances, this was really well done. I liked the tease with Elias a lot, and it also gave Cena someone to beat up to kind of look strong before he got his ass kicked. But yeah, this was a really good. This was pro wrestling right here.
I enjoyed it for what it was. Did I want to see these guys go at it? In a long match? Yeah, but maybe 5 years ago, not now.
And I think that when we had the Goldberg versus Lesnar feud, WWE learned a lot from that. Where it's sometimes all you need are money moves. That's all the people want to see is the money moves.
Yeah, people just want the pop.
Yeah, I don't need to see... We've seen these guys wrestle for decades.
Yeah.
I don't need to see an arm wrench and a headlock. Fuck that. Let's see what they got,
That's a very good point. Yeah. But anyway, for me, this is when the show peaked, and it was all downhill from here.
Yeah.
And I feel bad when I talk about this next match, because it's Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Zayn and Sami Owens. Or Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Jeez, fucked up the names. So yeah, Daniel Bryan back wrestling for the first time in 2 years. Or is it 2 years?
Seems like forever.
Yeah.
Since 2015.
Amazing comeback story for Daniel Bryan. I mean, it's a freaking Lifetime channel movie, but it's real life.
Mm-hmm.
So Daniel Bryan gets a really cool entrance video, including seeing some MSU students doing the Yes chant. Shout out to the hometown. And Daniel Bryan comes out, and the crowd just, they're excited, but I do feel like the crowd was a little burnt out from Taker and Cena before.
Definitely.
Yeah,
burnt out from just the show being so fucking long already at this point.
And I've heard from people that were there that the pre-show, like the crowd was there for the pre-show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unlike
it was
most
full the
years.
entire time.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Yeah,
wrestling.
it is.
Yeah.
KO and Sami Zayn attacking from behind. Power bombs Bryan on the apron, so he's doing the stretcher job thing. It's like, so we've already waited 2 fucking years for this guy to come back to the ring, but they're gonna milk him coming back in the ring even longer.
Right, and it's like one bump.
Yeah.
We're supposed to believe that one bump, he's in the back. Like,
So I think the idea was like they said he landed like hard on his neck, and they were saying, you know, like since his neck had been hurt in the past or his head, like that was what was, you know.
Well, I know what the fuck they're doing, but it was just stupid.
Plus, like, how many times you kind of use that up now? Like, you could have said that for his main event when he was going for a title and he lost because of it. Like, now it's every match we're gonna have to do this stupid. Oh no, his poor little head.
Also, they've killed the allure of the apron powerbomb by Kevin Owens. Because, you know, like, he used to do that and, like, a guy be, like, done for, like, a few weeks. Like, now it's like, oh, no, he's back mid-match. Like, no, like, make that, like, number one, the guy shouldn't be taking that fucking move every week to begin with. And, like, make that a kill move.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And as soon as he laid on that stretcher, whatever life was left in this crowd
died. Shane McMahon decides to go it alone with his shitty strikes.
Those were terrible.
Yeah.
I was actually laughing at them.
The thing is, they've actually improved since his feud with Randy Orton.
In 2009,
had improved, but then they look like shit again.
Yeah,
they're as bad as ever here.
Yeah, so
Shane just looked blown up after about a minute.
He did.
Terrible.
Well, you know, he was battling diverticulitis or whatever. I don't know if that was legitimate or not.
I have no
That's
idea.
another reason to not have him carry the match for 9
minutes. Shit.
Like,
shit.
Yeah. But he works over, like, Owens and Zayn work him over. Zayn at one point's in the trio woe, and Shane goes coast to coast because he has to in every match he's in now. Bryan comes back. They really drag out the hot tag even longer, though. He's finally in, and he actually, like, does a nice job of milking him stepping into the ring for the first time, which is really cool. He survives a haluva kick, and a pop-up powerbomb, does the knee and the yes lock, and Bryan and Shane win. So that was actually surprising. I thought Zayn and Owens were going to win because they'd have won their jobs back, but maybe they're going to have them change shows or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah, this definitely should have been a special moment and a very memorable moment, and it kind of wasn't. It was for us, just like as fans of Daniel Bryan, seeing him back in there. But I think they did as much as possible to mitigate it. Not only with his like position on the card, I think this should have been earlier in the show for sure. And just like with having Shane being in there so long and looking like shit. And then Bryan just comes in there and just does all his signature stuff. And I'm like, if we would have started off with him doing some of his signature stuff, I think the crowd would have gotten into it immediately.
Yeah.
And then you can go into a heat segment, like after that. But this was 90% heat segment, 10% Bryan just doing signature stuff and then winning.
And it's kind of like the story of his career in WWE is like, we want something. They'll say you're going to get that, and then they'll give you the most half-ass version of it possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. They're still on the fence about Daniel Bryan, because they're fucking idiots.
I think what they were thinking is like, if we build it up even more and more and more, then when he comes in, the pop is just going to be absolutely unbelievable. But it was about as weak of a hot tag for Daniel Bryan as you will ever see.
Yeah.
And this match really didn't do anything for Owens and Zayn at all.
No, it didn't. It did not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got beat by 2 general managers. One who hasn't wrestled in almost 3 years, and the other one who is a part-time
and his diverticulitis.
Guy.
Yeah.
With diverticulitis. So
Yep. So then the average train keeps on rolling with the Raw Women's Championship match. Alexa Bliss taking on.
Did you guys rate that last one?
I give it like 3. Maybe.
Say 3?
Yeah.
I give it 3 1/4. It might be kind of generous. I'm a mark for Daniel Bryan, so yeah.
Okay.
Could have been a lot better.
Bliss versus Nia Jax. Going into this, I'm like, this should be 2 minutes. Nia goes out there, kills everyone, walks away champion. Boom, 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 done. Well, we get a cool entrance for Bliss, and she's out there with Mickie James. Nia Jax comes out and destroys Mickie James, which was awesome.
Yeah.
We get a cool spot where Nia screams in Bliss's face, and she screams and runs away. I laughed. That was pretty funny. Nia just keeps using power moves on a Bliss. Bliss keeps going for the eyes and then goes for the legs. Does a twisted Bliss on the outside. Jax kicks out the DDT. But, like, Nia Jax, the monster, is being worked over by a 5-foot-tall, 150-pound girl.
Yeah.
Yep. And so Nia finally gets the comeback. Samoan drop off the top, and she wins.
This was 9 minutes, and it felt like 15.
It should have been 2 minutes.
The crowd was completely dead.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
The deadest it was all night, I think.
Yep. It was just like, my God. Like, I was fine with this match being on the card, and like, I was excited for it. It's like, make this. Bliss gets her comeuppance, gets destroyed immediately. Boom, boom, boom. You're done. Move on. Save the real match for another night.
Here's a thing I have an issue with about the storyline of this match. The whole thing is like Nia Jax is like, she's doing it for anyone who's been body shamed, been bullied, all this shit.
Yeah.
But aren't they kind of making light of the fact that she looks different and, you know what I mean?
Well,
I get what they're doing, but I also think they're kind of making light of it by making that the entire crux of the storyline.
Yeah.
Right.
Also,
you think, oh, she's different. She's not like other people, but that's okay. But
she's not like most girls.
She looks different than other people.
Yeah, what they're saying, that's the thing, is like, they're saying, oh yeah, she's different, but in not so many words, what they're saying is she's different because she's big, she's fat.
Right.
Yeah. That's not the message you're trying to send.
Yeah.
I'll even go a little bit further, which is, fucking 2 months ago, Nia Jax was an unstoppable monster, but now she gets her feelings hurt when someone calls her fat.
Yeah.
It's just like, that makes no sense. Like,
It doesn't.
Nia should hear that and just like, oh, I'm fat. Okay, let me see let me throw you around like a fucking rag doll and kill you.
That's more inspiring than
Yeah.
anything else.
And you know that this was a storyline that they came up in the writers' room and they were like, oh, fat shaming, that's a hot topic. Okay, let's use that, and let's just, whoever fits the mold, we'll just shove them in that fucking storyline.
Yeah, it was like, how can we appear more progressive
While not being progressive.
Yeah.
And I like Nia. Nia's cool. I think she fills her role very nicely.
She deserved to be in the spot.
Yeah.
I think.
And I like Bliss too, but like, this was not the match these two needed at not the right time.
Right. Because
Correct.
I think as a match, like if you took this match out of where it was and put it on like a Raw or SmackDown only show, just the way it was, I think that's a fine match. There wasn't anything wrong with it.
I agree.
But yeah, it just wrong time,
wrong place,
mm-hmm.
wrong storyline.
Yep.
Then we had the dream match, WWE Championship match. AJ Styles defending against Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura gets the whole rock band entrance, including the Alice Cooper guitarist.
Justin, your thoughts?
Yeah, go ahead, Justin.
I thought the guitarist wasn't very good.
I thought the guitarist was fine, but it's like, I like the violin stuff way more for Nakamura. Like that.
Yeah, the violin stuff was better.
Yeah.
I also thought all the violinists looked like they had never had sex before. It looked like a Reddit thread come to life. I don't know. They found like the nerdy. No offense to those people, they're great musicians, but they found the nerdiest people they could find.
For like the coolest wrestler, they find the nerdiest people to play them in.
They're all in t-shirts and shit.
Yeah, Nakamura shirts is like, oh god, no.
Yeah. But Nakamura looked cool in that Michael Jackson jacket.
Dude, his attire looked amazing. I loved the all red pants with the golden like armband. Looked really cool.
I was really hoping AJ would come out with that the mask he wore for their match at Wrestle Kingdom, like the like the Bullet Club look. Yeah, I like that mask a lot. Oh well. So this match started out in a whisper and kind of kept that same pace. They just did moves. It was fine. It was good stuff, but there was no story. And coming from two guys like this, no story at WrestleMania for your match is just bizarre.
Yeah, and even beyond like no story, they just didn't up the ante at all.
It was clearly this match was booked like this is the first match in a storyline, so we can't go crazy and do everything we need to do. We need to do the bare minimum to get us through this, so then we can do another bigger match when the storyline is really picking up, which is a stupid fucking thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you've built up this match, this is the most anticipated match on the card, I think.
Yeah.
At least among like the
diehards.
marks. the diehards, the Smarks, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, they just went out there and had a match. Like, there was nothing unique about it at all. They just went out and had, like, the most fine, safe, like, going through the motions match, which these guys are so talented that translates to a pretty good match. But they kind of did the bare minimum here, I would say.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was one of those things that, like, I almost felt like I wasn't paying that close attention to because I was waiting for that next gear to shift.
Yep.
And it just never came, and then it ended.
They had a pretty good finish. I enjoyed the finish.
Yeah, it was good.
But it was just there.
It felt like it was the build-up to a bunch of more false finishes and the match really ramping up, but it just ended.
Yeah. So, yeah, AJ wins clean, and then Nakamura presents him with the belt. He gets down on his knees and is like, oh, respectful. And then low blows AJ's dick like a mile above the ring.
Oh, man.
Like, he shot for the stars with this low blow. And then just goes about kicking AJ's head in. And I'm just like, oh, this is the best. These guys have worked together in this whole match.
Right.
And
where was that aggression the entire match?
I would rather it had been like, I don't know if I'd rather had Nakamura turn heel leading up to the match or maybe turn heel during the match, but
you could have had him win the title and still done the heel turn.
Something, but I do think the heel turn is needed for Nakamura because he's been very kind of floundering on the main roster, you know, and like, hey, let's give him a heel run, maybe. And I don't know, did you guys see his promo on SmackDown? Okay,
no.
So I'll do this real short. Renee Young's backstage with Nakamura, and he's like, "Oh, why'd you do that, Nakamura? Why'd you attack AJ?" He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You know, like, I apologize. I'm so upset." And she's like, "Nakamura, like, are you honestly expected to believe that?" And he's like, "Sorry, me no speak English," and just like walks away. And it's like, that is fantastic. I'm like, and like that's and right now I'm like, I'm fully on board with the heel turn because of that. Like, you can get around Nakamura's shortcomings a lot with him as a heel.
And I mean, maybe because I don't watch week to week, but I didn't feel like he was like, he seemed over to me. It didn't seem like he wasn't a top baby.
Yeah,
it seems almost like, we're getting rid of Sammy and Kevin. We need a top heel fast.
But they were kind of lacking a top heel in general on SmackDown. Like, Sammy and Kevin were top guys, but like they weren't like the guys. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I don't know.
But I feel like this kind of sends Nakamura back to where he was, because I think they built up to him winning the Royal Rumble. He wins the Royal Rumble. I think most people thought he'd come away with a title here, and I think that would have been kind of the thing he's been lacking to elevate him, because I think he does have everything else. He just, I think he goes back to being kind of like a semi-main eventer with this loss. Maybe he'll win the title from AJ during their feud, but I don't think it would be as meaningful.
Yeah.
Hopefully he doesn't
I was just
end up like Bobby Roode.
kind of disappointed by this whole thing. This was about half as good as their match at Wrestle Kingdom was.
That's being generous, I think.
Yeah. And Dave Meltzer brought up an interesting point that maybe Nakamura came to WWE because he can't really hang with New Japan anymore, the style and everything, and he's getting a little older. Maybe this is kind of what he can do now.
Maybe. Also, one thing to point out is that AJ was hurt like weeks before Mania. So I wonder if that maybe had dampened him a little bit. Maybe. I don't know.
But there was still no... They just had a match. There was no, like, creative spots. Really.
There was no story.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, those are the things, creative spots, storylines, and stuff like that within the match, those are the things that hide those things. So if you're injured or you don't want to do that pace anymore, the story is there to just take over for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Raw Tag Team Championship match. The Bar versus Braun Strowman and a mystery partner. The Bar come out with a weird Mardi Gras float entrance, which makes no sense for them, but okay. Braun comes out, destroys the float, which was funny.
The reason for the
float. So Braun gets in the ring, he announces that his partner is going to be someone he picks from the crowd. He then walks around the crowd for fucking ever, picks out some random kid who looked like a girl at first,
It's too bad he didn't find Suzuki.
No shit. Picks out Minoru.
Drunk Missouri.
If there's anything worse than a sober Minoru Suzuki, it's a drunk one.
Suzuki was he was completely disguised though because he had a hat on and you can't tell who he is without
his hair. Yeah.
My buddy Tommy ran into Tanahashi at the show.
No shit.
Yeah,
Really?
Cool.
Tanahashi was there. And Okada was there too, apparently.
I heard all these guys left after the.
I don't blame them. I don't blame them.
Yeah.
So Braun picks a kid, comes in the ring, and is like, his name's Nicholas.
Which I was like, oh, this must be a Make-A-Wish kid.
Nope, it's some kid of an official that works for the company. So Braun does all the work. This is house show shit. It was stupid. Braun at one point tags the kid in. The crowd goes fucking insane.
The kid was more over than the last match. The last few matches.
It was insane.
Yeah.
And then Braun tags right back in, power slam, and they win the tag titles. The Bar lost to Braun Strowman and a fucking 10-year-old kid.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would be more angry about this if the show was better.
Yeah.
At this point, I was so over the show that I just didn't give a fuck. It's like, sure, have a kid win the tag team.
What the fuck do I care?
Who cares?
Yeah, it was stupid.
What's worse, the Bar losing to Braun and a child, or the Bar losing to just Braun?
Somehow Braun and a child is...
Yeah,
I was gonna
say,
I
agree.
Worse.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like you're making Braun a fucking doof. You know, like he's supposed to be this badass, and like he's picking a fucking kid.
Well, Braun is not the guy to be doing this.
But they've skirted the line with Braun because, like, remember him and Alexa Bliss? Like, they had this like flirty. Will she let me put it in? I don't know. Storyline.
Yeah, and I go, maybe it almost makes sense for Braun. Like, it's like, I'm so good, I don't need a fucking partner. Like, I'm just gonna pick a fan. Like, here, kids, sit here. You know, it's like, I don't know. This is stupid, and apparently it was Vince's idea so they can make the kids want to go to shows more often.
You couldn't have planted the son of a bitch in the front row?
Yeah.
That
would have been too obvious.
Like, how did he know where the fuck he was?
I don't know.
Maybe he didn't. That's why
some guy was pointing out camera like, that way,
here.
I feel like an air traffic controller. Like.
Oh my god! But yeah, the memes after this match were fantastic online. Of all the jokes, including my favorite was Nicholas being suspended due to testing positive for Flintstones vitamins.
Nice.
So that was funny. So then we get the main event, the Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar defending against Roman Reigns. The 4th fucking year in a row, Roman Reigns is the main event. Both guys getting booed coming out. And we start off right away. 3 Germans, 2 Superman punches, belly to belly onto the floor, and another one. We get a CM Punk chant during your main event, which is great. Glad those are coming back. Brock says, "Suplex City, bitch." Lesnar throws Reigns around. Roman drives Lesnar into the tables. They don't break. I don't know if they were supposed to or not. Hits 2 spears. Lesnar kicks out. Goes for the spear again. Lesnar knees him. Hits the F5. And this is the big payoff. Because this is true. The plan was that Lesnar was going to put away everyone with 1 F5. And that way, when WrestleMania came along, Roman going to kick out of the F5. And it's going to be a big pop. Because Roman kicked out of an F5. Roman kicks out of this F5. The crowd couldn't give a fuck less. Like, nothing.
Nobody bought it. Nobody bought it.
So he picks him up again. Another F5. And a second kick out right away. And at this point, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, the crowd was convinced that Reigns was going to win this match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A third F5. And at this point, I am just like, what the fuck is going on? F5 through a table. And then a 5th F5. Lesnar still can't keep Roman down. So then, Brock Lesnar decides to take off the gloves and elbow Roman in the fucking head. And Roman is bleeding badly.
Oh, yeah.
This was Eddie Guerrero JBL levels of blood.
It was like Orton, when he cut Orton.
It was worse, because this was like immediately like pouring out of him, like Jay Briscoe at Man Up in ROH.
Yeah, he was gushing.
He was gushing. Roman fires up, covered in blood, looked great. Hits 2 spears. Goes for another one. Lesnar catches him for a 6 fucking F5, and Lesnar wins. My exact quote watching this match when I was live was, Jesus Christ himself did not go through this much punishment during the crucifixion. Like, good Lord, could you jerk Roman Reigns off any harder and make him look like any more of the biggest badass in the world? Everyone else on the fucking roster, Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman, Kane, even though who the fuck cares about Kane, Goldberg gets hit with one F5. They're dead. Roman Reigns takes 6 to put down. Taker, bear in mind, took 3 to put down. John Cena took 3. Roman takes 6. Get the fuck out of here. Are you fucking kidding me?
He still lost, so ultimately it still hurts him because
he's still a fucking loser.
Yeah, and he has the reputation for choking in big matches.
Yeah. Dude, this reminds me of, like, remember Homer Simpson being a boxer? Where, like, he just lets people beat him up until they're tired, and then he knocks them out.
Yeah.
And then he fights, like, Tyson, and he doesn't get tired. He just gets his ass handed to him for, like, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what happened here.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he's worse off than he was after WrestleMania 31, because at that point, at least, Rollins came in and stole it from him. But this time, he just flat out lost.
Yeah.
And what's weird is, at the end, the crowd there wasn't really a pop. They were like, it was more of like a, what?
It's like
you wait.
Oh, okay.
You wait, and at what point is it just too late? You know, like, this kind of reminds me of Tyler Black, Seth Rollins back in ROH, where it's like they just wouldn't pull the trigger, and then it's over. Like, it's too late. You cannot do it.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I think this has gone beyond that, even.
Yeah. I mean, Rollins was
think
over.
about it, though. How
many separate pushes has Reigns had that have ultimately failed?
Think about this.
Think of the list of guys that couldn't get him over.
Triple H, Taker, AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Brock Lesnar, Rusev, Bray Wyatt,
The Rock,
The Rock, Randy Orton couldn't get him over. John Cena couldn't get him over.
Daniel
who's
Bryan
left?
The Miz couldn't get him over.
Who could you bring in to
it's
actually
a
get him
who's
over?
who of the entire roster.
Samoa Joe, Braun Strowman. Need I go on?
Like, nobody.
This for 4 fucking years. We have sat through main events of Roman Reigns, and to be fair, the first one, Brock Lesnar and him at Mania 31, was great. It was fantastic. 32 with Triple H was a win over like a wet fart.
Yep.
Taker and him, and it was like a painful death.
It was awful.
This was just 2 guys going out there and doing a bunch of fucking moves and with no idea of how to structure together.
I think this was actually the low point in the Roman Reigns experiment to me, because there was just complete apathy. The worst response you can get is just people not caring. People were cheering about beach balls in the crowd during this match.
There were 4 beach balls reportedly going at the same time during this match.
Has there ever been
they didn't even care to boo Roman. Like, at least Roman has gotten a reaction before. It's booing, but it was something. This time the crowd just did not give a shit.
And has there ever been a "this is awful" chant in the main event of WrestleMania?
No.
That is horrible.
Not even in the heyday of Hogan did they get a "this is awful" chant.
And, like, who can you blame? You can't blame the crowd anymore.
No, and I don't blame Roman even. Like, he's just doing what he's told. I blame the fucking guys who booked him as this baby face who's supposed to be a badass, but you don't book him like a badass. You know? It's just, how long can you be trying to force this to happen and just admit finally, hey, we gotta do something else? Like, how long have you been waiting for, like, a dominant Roman Reigns title run? He had a brief one after 32 when he beat Triple H, and then he lost it, like, 3 months later to Seth Rollins. And it's just, like, you know, when does it stop? When do we have enough?
And what's weird is if you're paying attention to the end of the show, they show the video packages, they come back and show Roman, like, limping out of the stadium, you know, trying to give you that last, like, oh, look at him, he's walking out moment. And it just kind of dawns on you, like, they're still going to make him the guy.
Yep.
They still want you to believe it.
So, okay, this is the report that I've heard, is that Brock signed a new contract, and that Vince decided at the last minute to change the finish so that, because he didn't think that Roman would be going over in a positive crowd. To which I want to slap Vince across the face and be like, I could have told you last fucking year that Roman wasn't going to be walking into a positive crowd. Why the fuck did you book this in the first place then? Why didn't you put Brock versus Braun Strowman, a match that it actually had a vested interest in? But no, you got to put Roman in there for the 4th fucking time, and it didn't fucking work again. I could have told you that a year ago. But no, you want to wait till the last fucking minute to decide to change your goddamn mind, you idiot.
And what does that say? That the guy you want to be the top guy is walking into unfavorable crowd at WrestleMania. That means he's not your guy.
Yeah. So they already rebooked a rematch, steel cage match at the Greatest Rumble in Saudi Arabia, which is like, okay, so you're gonna have Roman win on a glorified house show?
Well, he might get a reaction over there, because that crowd doesn't know.
He has to come back to reality the next week, and he'll get booed on Raw.
Yeah.
So, or the next night even.
It's so bizarre.
So let's talk about anything to add before we get to Raw after Mania.
I just think not only have they kept trying to push Roman, they've just never done anything different. And it's like the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's what they've been doing. They haven't tried anything different.
Yep.
It's like maybe if they gave him a different character or,
change his shirt,
take
his shirt off.
Stop making him the fucking Shield guy. Do something different with him, for God's sakes.
You make a great point, Justin, because they've done literally nothing to change him.
No, he's the same fucking guy he was 4 years ago.
You don't have to turn him heel or anything.
Put his hair in a bun. I don't give a shit. Something.
Yeah. Put him in a dress. I don't know. Do something different.
So Raw after Mania, nothing really huge report. Joe is back. No Way Jose is on the main roster.
Oh boy.
Which, for the No Way Jose, I have one spot I want them to do. I don't care if they do it at the Greatest Rumble or next year's Royal Rumble. I want them to come out and do the whole fucking conga line thing, and everyone that's in the Rumble to like roll out and join the conga line. I just want that one spot. Like, give me that one spot and I'll be happy for that fucking guy.
Give the man what he wants.
Just that's all I want from that guy. I don't care about anything else. Ember Moon debuted on the main roster. Authors of Pain. And yeah, and Jeff Hardy returned.
Oh, okay.
So
it should be interesting what they're going to do with these NXT talents, because it's sometimes it's hit or miss with these guys.
Also, AOP dropped Paul Ellering as their manager because Paul didn't want to travel.
Oh, okay. They need a manager.
I say put him with Joe.
Yeah, they do.
Maybe.
Put him with Joe or put him with Roman. That's what I would do.
I think they need another manager who can actually talk.
Fine, Paul Heyman then.
I
don't know. There's not many managers.
Then point me in the direction of a good manager then, because I don't know. And then and also Kurt Angle dropped TNA on TV.
Oh, I heard that. Yeah, they're hiring.
Yeah, like he basically Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn tried to get a job, and he said, "Oh well, I hear TNA's hiring," and crowd popped. And Paige retired officially.
And then
And then on SmackDown, became the new GM because Bryan will be a full-time wrestler. So that's confirms that Bryan is now not a part-time, he's a full-time wrestler. So that's interesting. I'm trying to think of who showed up on... Oh, Carmella cashed in to win the women's...
Finally.
Yep.
Wait.
I forgot she even had it. So
the iconic duo, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, attacked Charlotte. And then Carmella ran out. Mike Chioda did not know how to cash in the Money in the Bank. Like, he's holding it and he's like, wait, what do you want me to do? He's like, I want to cash in. What do you want to do? It's just like, she had to yell at him like 4 fucking times. I want to cash in. And he's just like, wait, what? It's like, for fuck's sake, Mike.
What else are we going to do with this goddamn briefcase, Mike?
I'm trying to think if anyone else debuted. I don't think so. I think it was just an iconic duo. So...
But then they had a huge main event.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles on free
television.
In a disqualification because Nakamura interfered.
But then those guys were going after it.
Yeah, for a while, yeah. So that's great.
Daniel Bryan scares me in the ring. Like, he's still doing the big missile drop kick, and he hasn't changed his style at all.
Yeah.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
He's taken less punishment, taking less moves and stuff, but his offense is what is killing him, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. But yeah,
hopefully he stays healthy. That's all we can hope for.
That's what I hope for too. So yeah, that about wraps up the 2 hours and 42 minutes of us talking about Mania weekend.
Wow.
And somehow this dragged less than WrestleMania.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Good Lord. Overall thoughts about this year's WrestleMania weekend, guys?
Go ahead and flip.
I enjoyed pretty much every night of wrestling. I was having some fun. Like the TNA night was what you'd expect for a free wrestling show, and then ROH everything went a little long. That's one thing. It was like ROH show way too long.
Yep.
And WrestleMania is just an all-day festival, so that was absurd. But overall, it was good. It had some of the best wrestling you'll ever see, and yeah, I mean, what can you say after that? It's good.
Justin?
I really enjoyed ROH. It was a little too long, but I thought overall the show delivered. NXT was one of the best wrestling shows of all time. Mania, there were definitely parts I enjoyed, but ultimately, is there much I'm going to remember from this show specifically? Not really. And just the last 3 Manias have all had really good moments, and the first half has been great every time, but then I think it's just going to keep getting more bloated and feeling longer and longer every year, and the shows are just so long and weird now that it's hard to really say that I loved the show or enjoyed the show. Just because it's so long. I felt drained after watching that. So.
Can you imagine rewatching that?
No, absolutely not.
Ever.
Yeah. No, I could not watch that again. I thoroughly enjoyed every night. I was super excited. TNA Lucha was fun, harmless fun. ROH was great. NXT was fantastic. Mania was great up until Taker and Cena went out, and they had the pop, and it's all right, and I was done. No joke. At one point, Brooke, my fiance, rolls up and was like, "Okay, so how much longer is that?" Like, "Oh, 5 matches." 5 matches? What the fuck? Yeah. That show definitely peaked early, but my God, that first 2 hours, I was like, "This is gonna be the greatest Mania of all time."
I feel like it's going to be that way every year from now on, as long as Mania's that long, though.
Probably.
So there is a rumor that Vince is thinking about turning WrestleMania into a 2-day event.
Oh, boy.
To which I just say, no, it's a 1-day event. Cut fucking matches from the goddamn card. Everyone does not need to make it onto Mania. If you're not good enough for the storyline, that's it. You're not going on the card.
Mm-hmm.
This was the peak of trying to get literally everybody on the show.
Yeah,
and it's
so
you should be putting only the best of the best on your Mania show.
That's why you look at WrestleMania 17 or 19 or 23 or 24, and the best are on the card.
Yeah.
It's still a stacked card, and it's a pretty long card, but only the good stuff is on the card.
Right.
Yeah.
So, well, that wraps up our first inaugural episode. How'd you guys feel being back?
It's good to be back, man.
All right.
Good to have an outlet to talk about wrestling, so these thoughts don't just
boil over.
Boiling around in my head. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this was fun. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. All right. Well, that will wrap it up for the first ever episode of the Running Ropes podcast, new and improved, as Justin put it. Stay tuned for more. Hopefully, it's not a long wait. We're gonna shoot for 2 weeks between episodes or so.
At least once a
month.
month.
Our best shot.
Yeah, at least once a month. But maybe just depending on how schedules go. I got a wedding, so that might come into factor and hold me back for a few more, a month.
Yeah.
So.
Well, little things like that might hold us back.
Just little things, no big deal,
Yeah.
All right. Well, Justin, thank you for joining us from Chicago. Luke, thank you for joining
Thanks
me
for having me.
in the office/bedroom.
Anytime.
Yeah.
You should have left it in an office.
Well, gotta try to make it sound a little professional. All right. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. Thank you for listening. Take care.